Chapter 1247. 1247 Chapter 1247 Killing a Supreme Being. It turned into a giant turtle as tall as the sky and covered the sky with its palm. Supreme Thunder Rhinoceros was taken aback. The lightning around his body grew even more powerful, and a huge single-horned rhinoceros formed from lightning rushed towards Dandan. Bang! Dandan's palm collided with the giant rhinoceros, making a loud noise. The lightning rhinoceros was defeated. "Watch my world and kill." Dandan shouted as mysterious patterns appeared on his turtle shell. These patterns would make people dizzy just by looking at them, as if they were peerless patterns that had existed since the beginning of the world. Buzz! These runes converged together, forming a beam of light that shot towards Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros. At the same time, Dandan's huge body soared through the air and charged towards Supreme Thunder Rhino. Supreme Thunder Rhinoceros let out a long roar and erupted with all his strength as he fought with Dandan. However, Dandan was clearly stronger and was suppressing Supreme Thunder Rhino. Clang! On the other side, Lu Ming controlled the lightning cauldron to collide with the giant hammer that Dark Thunder Supreme had transformed into. Just like the last time, the lightning on the hammer was sucked away by the lightning cauldron. Damn it! Supreme Dark Thunder roared in his heart. He felt that the situation wasn't good. In the previous battle with Lu Ming, he was stronger than Lu Ming in terms of pure strength. However, he was restrained by Lu Ming's lightning cauldron, which was why he had been defeated and fled. That was why he had joined forces with Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros. At first, he had thought that if he joined forces with Supreme Thunder Rhino, they would be able to kill Lu Ming. However, he had never expected that Lu Ming would have such a terrifying turtle with him. A turtle could actually suppress the Lightning Rhinoceros Supreme and gain the upper hand. This made him apprehensive, and at the same time he began to think of retreating. The 9 Seals of the Gate of God. At this moment, Lu Ming had transformed back into his human form. He controlled the lightning cauldron to attack Dark Thunder Supreme while forming a seal with both hands. Suddenly, 3 sealing gates appeared around Dark Thunder Supreme. The gate of sealing shone with boundless radiance as the power of sealing burst forth, pressing down on Dark Thunder Supreme. This is... Dark Thunder Supreme's face changed slightly. He felt that not only his body, but even his true yuan and soul were about to be sealed under the sealing gate. Open it! Supreme Dark Thunder roared as his true yuan exploded forth, madly attacking the sealing gate. Immediately, the 3 sealing gates began to tremble violently from the terrifying impact. Bubble! At this moment, Lu Ming called out. Chirping. The bubble chirped and stood on Lu Ming's shoulder, full of energy. Buzz! In the next moment, Bubbles charged out and disappeared in a flash. The naked eye was unable to capture Bubbles' figure as he was traveling through space. Suddenly, a massive transparent bubble appeared, enshrouding Dark Thunder Supreme within it. At this moment, the giant hammer that Dark Thunder Supreme had transformed into stopped in the air. Time and space impossible? An extremely shocked voice came from the giant hammer. Kill? Lu Ming shouted and transformed into the prison-suppressing steel bloodline. He raised his combat strength to the extreme and pressed down on the giant hammer. At the same time, the thunder cauldron also struck the giant hammer. Clang! Boom! With 2 loud bangs, the giant hammer exploded, revealing a shocked Dark Thunder Supreme who spat out a large mouthful of blood. I'll send you on your way. Lu Ming's voice was cold as he continued to charge toward Dark Thunder Supreme. At this moment, Dark Thunder desperately attacked and finally broke out of the transparent bubble. He wanted to escape. However, at this moment, the space trembled and 4 transparent bubbles appeared, surrounding Dark Thunder Supreme. Dark Thunder Supreme's body stopped moving again. No! Supreme Dark Thunder roared in shock. Thump! The lightning cauldron crashed into his forehead, forcing Dark Thunder Supreme to swallow his words. His head was bleeding from the impact and a large part of it caved in, almost bursting apart. Then Lu Ming arrived. At this moment, Lu Ming had transformed into his human form and wielded the blood sword formed by his 3rd bloodline. He slashed out with the sword and struck the area between Dark Thunder Supreme's eyebrows. Squeak! An ear-piercing sound rang out. In the end, Dark Thunder Supreme was split into 2 by Lu Ming's sword. Even the spiritual god did not manage to escape. Supreme Dark Thunder was dead. A Supreme Being powerhouse was killed in one fell swoop with the cooperation of Lu Ming and Bubbles. There was a time when the Supreme Being was so high and mighty, and Lu Ming was like an ant in front of him. But today Lu Ming had personally killed a supreme martial artist. Whoosh! The bubble flew back to Lu Ming's shoulder, chirping triumphantly. Lu Ming smiled and touched the little fellow. Fortunately, bubbles had helped him. Otherwise, with Lu Ming's current cultivation and combat strength, he could not kill a supreme being. If Audarchs were focused on fleeing, they would be far too difficult to kill. However, the bubble had imprisoned Dark Thunder Supreme. He could not even resist, let alone escape. He was killed by Lu Ming in one fell swoop. As expected of the spacetime spirit rat, one of the top 10 war beasts. It looks so young, but it's so powerful. I wonder how terrifying it will be when it fully grows and reaches its peak. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. He could not help but look forward to it. Lu Ming cooperated with Bubbles and killed Dark Thunder Supreme. It did not take long. In less than a minute, the scene fell into the eyes of the Lightning Bull and Lightning Rhinoceros Supreme, and they were horrified. Impossible. The Thunder Bull roared, its eyes filled with disbelief. He stood not far away and wanted to see Lu Ming killed with his own eyes. However, he did not see it. Instead, he saw Lu Ming kill a supreme being, which almost scared him to death. Run. Without any hesitation, the Lightning Bull turned around and ran. Did I let you go? Lu Ming's calm voice was heard. Then, his figure flashed and he appeared beside the Thunder Bull. Lu Ming, what do you want to do? I'm the young master of the Western Deity Palace, and my father is an invincible Level 4 Martial Royal Realm expert. If you kill me, you'll end up in a miserable state. The Thunderbolt Bull threatened Lu Ming. Bubble. Lu Ming called out softly. The bubble's body darted out and a transparent bubble appeared. This transparent bubble had appeared so suddenly that even Dark Thunder Sovereign hadn't been able to avoid it, much less Lane Yo. He had been completely enveloped by the bubble, and his body had been frozen in place, unable to move at all. This transparent bubble contained the intent of time and space, and it could imprison everything. No, don't. The Lightning Bull roared in its heart and almost cried. Lu Ming did not move. He slashed with his sword and the head of the Lightning Bull flew high into the air. Its spiritual god was also strangled and destroyed. Young Master. Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros roared, his voice filled with anger, but even more so with shock. He had wanted to save her before, but he was held back by Dandan and couldn't leave at all. I want to leave this place. This person is a monster. Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros roared in his heart as he madly charged forward, wanting to leave. Unfortunately, Dandan's methods were endless. Let alone seeing them, Supreme Thunder Rhino had never even heard of them. These methods, under Dandan's control, displayed immense power, completely suppressing him. Chapter 1248. 1248 8th Level Spiritual God Realm. Seeing that Dandan had completely suppressed Thunder Rhino Supreme, Lu Ming didn't panic. He first collected Dark Thunder Supreme's blood essence and then walked towards Thunder Rhino Supreme. Seeing Lu Ming approach, Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros was terrified. He let out a roar and desperately tried to break through, but in the next instant, a transparent bubble appeared and enveloped Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros, imprisoning him. Don't kill me. Spare me. Spare me. Seeing this, Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros was terrified and began to beg for mercy. To be honest, he was still young. From the moment he was born until now, he had only lived for 1,000 years. A supreme being had 5,000 years of life. He still had a long time. He didn't want to die. What a joke. You wanted to kill me just now, and now you're asking me to let you go? Lu Ming sneered, his killing intent cold. Bang. Dandan slapped Supreme Thunder Rhino on the head, causing him to feel dizzy. No, spare me. I can do anything you want. I can rely on you, I can be your mount. Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros shouted. At this time he couldn't care about anything else, only hoping to save his life. Dandan, wait. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. Taking Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros as a mount was not a bad idea. After killing Supreme Thunder Rhino, Lu Ming could only keep the materials on his body and the 9 drops of his blood essence. However, if he were to take him as a mount, a living supreme martial artist would be able to help Lu Ming with many things. Dandan, do you have any way to control him? Lu Ming asked Dandan. Don't worry. As long as he doesn't resist, I have 100 ways to control him. I'll make him behave himself and not dare to have any second thoughts. Dandan said. Lightning Rhino, don't resist. Lu Ming said. Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros was helpless and could only obediently let Dandan inscribe a spell formation in his spiritual god. If he were to change his mind, Dandan would be able to kill him easily. After inscribing the formation, Dandan transformed back into Little Turtle, while Thunder Rhino Supreme transformed back into his human form. He bowed to Lu Ming obediently, feeling helpless, but in order to save his life he had to do this. Lei Shi, I still need to cultivate for a few days. You stay in the mountain and river diagram. With that, the mountain and river diagram appeared. An estate world treasure. When Supreme Lightning Rhinoceros saw this, he was greatly shocked. In his eyes, Lu Ming was simply unfathomable. There was a small turtle and a chubby spirit mouse beside him. They were all terrifyingly powerful and unbelievably powerful. Lu Ming's combat strength was even more amazing. The mountain and river diagram glowed, and the lightning rhinoceros was absorbed into the mountain and river diagram. Then, the bloodline of the 9 dragons emerged and started to devour Dark Thunder Supreme's energy and true essence. The Dark Thunder Supreme mainly cultivated the Thunder mentality. However, Lu Ming's Thunder mentality had already reached the perfected spiritual god realm. It was no longer useful for him to devour and refine it. Lu Ming devoured the vital essence energy. He then found a place and started refining it. How strong was the true essence of a supreme martial artist? The energy essence contained in the blood was also extremely powerful. Lu Ming began to refine it and convert it into essential core to improve his cultivation. As he refined it, Lu Ming's cultivation level also began to increase continuously. The early stage of the 7th level spiritual god realm. Not long after, it advanced to the late stage of the 7th level spiritual god realm and then the peak of the 7th level spiritual god realm. With Lu Ming's current level of conception, as long as he had enough energy, he could advance to the peak of the 9th level of the spiritual god realm. Hoo! The true energy in his body circulated and became boundless. In the blink of an eye, a few days passed. Lu Ming's cultivation finally made another breakthrough and he reached the early 8th level of the spiritual god realm. The vital essence and blood energy of a supreme being had raised Lu Ming's cultivation by a full level, reaching the 8th level of the spiritual god realm. The true essence of an 8th level spiritual god is several times stronger than that of a 7th level spiritual god. Feeling the vast essential core in his body, Lu Ming's eyes flashed with confidence. The breakthrough in his cultivation had undoubtedly increased his combat strength by a large margin. Now he could kill a heaven's favorite like the Thunder Bull in one move if he used all his strength. Right now he was confident that even if he didn't rely on the lightning cauldron or the bubbles, he would be able to fight against a supreme like Dark Thunder with his own battle prowess. Of course, there were also strong and weak supreme martial artists. Some of them had awakened 7th level divine bloodlines, 8th level divine bloodlines, and even 9th level divine supremes. Naturally, they would be even stronger. Half a month is almost up, it's time to go back. Lu Ming pondered, then took a step and turned into a ray of light, heading towards the ancient city of the divine ruins. Not long after, Lu Ming returned to the ancient city of the divine ruins. Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming walked side by side. The ancient divine ruins city seems to have even more people, Xian Yanqing said. Lu Ming nodded. In the ancient city of the divine ruins, people were coming and going. He felt that the density of the people was even greater than before. After asking around, he found out that the selection of the disciples of the deity sect was about to reach the end. A large number of experts from all over the Divine Ruins continent had rushed over to watch. Lu Ming nodded. This was not hard to understand. The major sects of the Yuanlu continent selected their disciples in the Divine Ruins, which was rare since ancient times. It was normal to attract so many people. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing walked around casually. They had been in seclusion for days and it was a good time to relax. After walking around for a while, the two of them walked up to a luxurious restaurant, planning to have something to eat. The restaurant's business was very good, and many seats were full. The two of them went all the way to the highest floor before they found a place to sit down and ordered some wine and food. The two of them chatted as they ate. After nearly half a month of cultivation, Xian Yanqing's martial arts technique of creation had greatly improved. Her combat power had also increased a lot. Creak. The 5th floor was divided into 2 areas. On one side were private rooms and on the other side were ordinary dining tables. At this moment, the door of a private room opened and 2 young men walked out. Ice Dragon. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. One of the young men was the ice dragon that he had defeated. The other one was walking side by side with Ice Dragon. He had a confident smile on his face. It was obvious that he was also a Heaven's favorite at the same level as Ice Dragon. That's a Heaven's favorite from the Blood Sun continent. Lu Ming looked at the other young man and had an idea. The Blood Sun continent was the second-ranked continent in the continent group of the Divine Ruins. This continent was also filled with experts and geniuses. Although it could not be compared to the Divine Ruins continent, it was stronger than the other continents and could not be underestimated. The two of them walked toward Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's table. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly as he continued to drink. "You are Lu Ming, right?" The Ice Dragon looked at Lu Ming and said coldly. "Not bad, it seems like your memory isn't bad." Lu Ming said. "We'll settle our scores another day." The Ice Dragon looked at Xian Yanqing and said, "You're Xian Yanqing, right?" "Not bad," Xian Yanqing said. "Very good, your opportunity has come. In that private room is the unparalleled genius from the deity sect, young Master Lin. He thinks that you are not bad and asked you to accompany him for a drink. If you are good at accompanying him, you may even have the opportunity to sleep with him. In that case you will be able to climb up to a higher branch," the Ice Dragon said. Xian Yanqing furrowed his brows at his words. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. Chapter 1249. 1249 Young Master Lin of the Heavenly God Sect. Get lost. Xian Yanqing scolded coldly. "What did you just say?" Bing Lung's face darkened, and so did the sovereign of the land of Blood Sunday. "She told you to get lost, didn't you hear her?" Lu Ming said calmly. "Brat, it's none of your business. Shut up." The Heaven's favorite from the Blood Sun continent shouted and slapped Lu Ming's face. "Pah!" A crisp sound was heard. A person was staggering backward. It was not Lu Ming but the young man from the Blood Sun continent. A palm print appeared on his face and one side of his face was swollen. You. He looked at Lu Ming with a dumbfounded look. He could not wrap his head around the situation. He was the one who had attacked first, but Lu Ming had arrived first. His speed was shockingly fast and his palms slapped his face. His head was buzzing and he was completely dazed. "How dare you, Lu Ming? Do you know that you dare to attack us? We are representing young Master Lin." He coldly berated. "Get lost." "Shut up," Lu Ming shouted. A cold killing intent burst out from his body. This killing intent made Ice Cold's body shiver. Lu Ming did not care if he was young Master Lin or the pride of the Tianxin sect. If it was anything else he would not care. But since it involved Xian Yanqing, Lu Ming would not give anyone face. Hee hee. At this moment, a light chuckle came from the box. Then an elegant young man in a white robe walked out. Lu Ming had seen him before. He was one of the 3 young geniuses from the deity sect who came to the continent of the Divine Ruins. Young Master Lin walked to Lu Ming's table. His face was calm but his eyes were cold and arrogant. He looked down at Lu Ming and said, "Miss, you're a peerless beauty. It's a pity that you were born in the Divine Ruins continents. Are you willing to follow me? At that time, you don't need to participate in the selection. You can directly enter the Tianxin sect to cultivate and become an official disciple." Hearing this, the elites of the land of Blood Sun and Ice Cold were all envious. The other people in the restaurant were even more excited. They wished they were Xian Yanqing and took his place. Young Master Lin had a confident smile on his face. He believed that no one in the Divine Ruins would reject such a tempting request. "I'm not interested." Xian Yanqing's indifferent voice made young Master Lin's face freeze. "Young lady, you'd better consider this carefully. This is a once-in-a-thousand-years opportunity for you." Young Master Lin continued. "I said I'm not interested." Xian Yanqing frowned and seemed a little impatient. If it wasn't for the fact that the other party was a Heaven's Pride expert of the Tianxin sect, Xian Yanqing would have already flipped out. "You really don't know what's good for you. Short-sighted and pretentious. She's just a slut in nature." The young man from the Blood Sun land and the cold man shouted one after another. Boom. Lu Ming's body exploded with an extremely strong killing intent. His cold eyes fell on the young man from the land of Blood Sun and he said coldly, "Since you said those words just now, you're dead." Lu Ming's cold gaze made the paragons of the Blood Sun continent shiver. But thinking about young Master Lin, his courage increased. "I'm talking about the matter." "What? You still want to attack young Master Lin?" "Kill?" Suddenly Lu Ming shouted coldly. He rushed out and struck at the young man from the land of Blood Sun. The youth from the Blood Sun continent was also at the 7th level of the spiritual god realm. However, he was completely dumbfounded by Lu Ming's palm. This palm carried a terrifying pressure. When it acted on his body, it made him unable to move. "Young Master Lin, save me!" The young man from the land of Blood Sun screamed in fear. "You dare to make a move in front of me?" Young Master Lin's face was dark. He moved slightly. It was almost impossible to see his movements clearly, but his body suddenly appeared in front of Lu Ming and he struck out a palm at Lu Ming. Bang! Lu Ming's palm collided with young Master Lin's, creating a dull thud. Both of their bodies shook slightly and they took a step back. Peak 8th level spiritual god realm. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Young Master Lin's cultivation was at the peak of the 8th level spiritual god realm. What? Young Master Lin was slightly taken aback. He did not expect Lu Ming to be able to receive his palm. However, the coldness in his eyes intensified. Heavenly Wind Palm. Young Master Lin's palm glowed with a green light as he struck at Lu Ming. Martial technique of creation. Without a doubt, young Master Lin was using a technique of creation and it had reached the 3rd level. On Lu Ming's palm, there were traces of lightning. He used the Thunder God strike and struck out with his palm to meet young Master Lin's palm. Bang! In the end, the two of them still took a few steps back. "You're looking for death, kill?" Young Master Lin was furious. He didn't manage to take down Lu Ming with 2 moves and felt like he had lost face. He was prepared to use his killing move to kill Lu Ming. Buzz! Lu Ming used the 9 Dragons' Heaven Stomping Steps and his body swayed. Like a flash of light, he passed young Master Lin and struck out at the young man from the Blood Sun continent. This palm was as fast as lightning, and even young Master Lin didn't have time to react. The young man from the land of Blood Sun widened his eyes in shock. But the next moment, his body was torn into pieces by Lu Ming's palm. He was killed on the spot. CSI. Many people gasped in shock. First of all, he was shocked by Lu Ming's combat strength. A peak 7th level spiritual god realm genius was as weak as a baby in Lu Ming's hands. He had no way of resisting at all. The second was that he was shocked by Lu Ming's guts. He dared to kill young Master Lin's elite in front of him. This was a slap to young Master Lin's face. On the side, Ice Cold's expression changed drastically, and he retreated rapidly. After not seeing him for a while, Lu Ming's combat strength had become stronger. It was much stronger than the last time he had fought with him. This made him apprehensive. "You're looking for death, kid. No one can save you." As expected, young Master Lin's face was really dark. The green light on his body jumped like a green flame. An ice-cold killing intent bloomed in the restaurant, causing many people's expressions to change. They backed out of the restaurant for fear of being affected by this terrifying killing intent. I'm afraid you're still lacking. If you want to fight, I'll accompany you. Let's go out and fight." Lu Ming smiled faintly, not giving young Master Lin any face. Then he took a step forward and appeared in the sky outside the restaurant. "You can't escape." Young Master Lin also stepped out and appeared in the sky above the restaurant, facing Lu Ming. The Heaven's Pride expert of the Tianxin sect is about to make a move. This news spread like a whirlwind. Buzz, buzz, buzz. In a short while, countless figures appeared in this place, watching from afar. It's really the Heaven's Pride expert of the Tianxin sect. Who is that young man? How dare he fight against the Heaven's Pride expert of the Tianxin sect? How bold. Young Master Lin's identity aside, just his combat strength is shocking. Judging from your aura, young Master Lin's cultivation is at the peak of the 8th level spiritual god realm. However, young Master Lin is a heaven's favorite of the Tianxin sect. The cultivation technique and martial techniques you cultivate are absolutely top-notch. Your combat strength is also absolutely terrifying when fighting against those of the same level. This person actually dares to fight with young Master Lin. Who is he? I know him. He seems to be from the South God Palace. He's from the Divine Wilderness Continent. The Divine Wilderness Continent? That remote and backward place? A wave of discussion erupted in the surroundings. Chapter 1250. 1250 Chapter 1250 Defeating Young Master Lin. Brat, I'll kill you in 3 moves. Young Master Lin hollered and the green light around him turned into a pillar that shot into the sky. 100 Heaven Wind Palm. Young Master Lin struck out with his palm, and the palm print whistled as it headed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming stepped out and 9 streams of dragon energy exploded in his body. He activated Thunder God Strike and punched out. A phoenix formed by lightning flew towards young Master Lin. Boom. The lightning phoenix feathers collided with the palm print. Break. Young Master Lin revealed a vicious expression. Boom. 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 The moment they clashed, young Master Lin's green palm print exploded. Within the palm print, 100 terrifying powers exploded. Lu Ming's lightning phoenix was destroyed in an instant. The palm print continued to blast toward Lu Ming. Die, trash, young Master Lin hollered in his heart. What a wonderful martial technique of creation. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Young Master Lin's martial arts technique of creation was clearly a low-grade divine martial arts technique. He had only cultivated it to the 3rd level. However, the explosive power was extremely shocking. It could only be said that the other party's martial technique of intent was of high quality, even more profound than Thunder God Strike. Thinking about it, it made sense. Young Master Lin was an official disciple of the Heaven Deity sect, and Lu Ming's Thunder God Strike was only learned in the first round of the assessment. Naturally, it could not be as exquisite as young Master Lin's. Prison Suppressing Heaven Art. Lu Ming activated the Prison Suppressing Heaven technique and threw a punch. Bang! Bang! With a series of intense explosions, Lu Ming's punch directly broke through young Master Lin's 100-fold force. Then Lu Ming took a step forward and threw another punch. This punch was direct, but its power was shocking. Young Master Lin slapped a few times to counter Lu Ming. But after a few explosions, young Master Lin was forced to retreat. This left everyone dumbfounded. A disciple from the Tianxin sect, a major sect in the Yuanlu continent, was actually no match for Lu Ming. As for Lu Ming, he came from a mere divine wilderness continent. How could he be so strong? So shocking. Kill, kill, kill. Everyone's gazes made young Master Lin go crazy. His killing intent was really thick. He was a disciple of the Tianxin sect, just like the high and mighty prince of the mortal world who lived in the imperial city. On the other hand, Lu Ming was from a poor and remote village. He could not be compared to him. But now he was being suppressed. How could he endure this? He roared in his heart and circulated his essential core crazily. He could not wait to cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces. Is this the combat strength of the Heavens God Sect's paragon? In my opinion, you're not a big deal in the Tianxin sect. Otherwise, how could he be so weak? Lu Ming sneered. The Yuan continent was the core of the Yuan realm and the holy land of cultivators. Many emperors tried their best to join the major forces of the Yuan continent. The Tianxin sect was a big sect in the Yuan continent. If young Master Lin was truly the heaven's pride of the Tianxin sect, he couldn't be so weak. Lu Ming guessed that young Master Lin's status in the deity sect was very ordinary. Trash, you're looking for death. Lu Ming's words seemed to have hurt young Master Lin, causing him to scream hysterically and lose his sense of propriety. Yes, Lu Ming was right. In the Heavenly God sect, there were countless Heaven's Pride experts. People like him were the lowest level of existence in the Heavenly God sect. He had to bow and kneel every day and look at other people's faces. That was why he took the opportunity to come to the Divine Ruins continent. He thought that he could show off and enjoy himself in the Divine Ruins continent. He did not expect that he would be suppressed by a piece of trash and mocked like this. He was completely enraged. With a screech, a green divine eagle appeared above young Master Lin's head. Without a doubt, it had a 9th-level divine bloodline, and it was covered in a green light. Young Master Lin turned into a divine eagle and was about to use his strongest killing move to kill Lu Ming. Enough. At this moment, a dignified voice sounded, and a middle-aged man appeared in the sky. This man was also an emissary of the Heavenly God sect. He had been following behind the white-haired elder. The moment he appeared, he blocked in front of young Master Lin. No, a piece of trash dares to insult me. He is not putting the Tianxin sect in his eyes. I will kill him. Young Master Lin shouted. Enough, haven't you embarrassed yourself enough? The deacon asked me to bring you back. The middle-aged man said. When he heard the word, deacon, young Master Lin shivered. He seemed to be very afraid. He looked around and gritted his teeth. He transformed into his human form and stared at Lu Ming coldly. Brat, I'll spare you today, but this matter isn't over yet. After saying that coldly, young Master Lin turned and left. The middle-aged man cast a casual glance at Lu Ming. No one knew what he was thinking, but he turned around and left the place. The battle had ended just like that. The surrounding spectators felt that it was a pity. This Lu Ming has offended young Master Lin. He's probably not going to have a good life. I don't think it'll be easy for him to be chosen by the Tianxin sect. Some people were discussing. Little Qing, let's go. Lu Ming came to Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming, I've implicated you. I'm afraid that you won't be able to enter the Tianxin sect because of this. Xian Yanqing said. Fool, if you can't enter then you can't. At most, we'll go to the Yuan continent and find a sect to join. Lu Ming tapped Xian Yanqing's nose and smiled. The two of them returned to their residence. After half a day, the second round of the selection of the Tianxin sect would begin. More than 500 geniuses from the 4 divine palaces who had survived gathered around the Fekta Peak. What's going on? Why didn't the Thunder Bull come? On the side of the Western Deity Palace, the elder leading the team frowned. Lei Niu was one of the 3 most powerful heavens favorites of the Western Deity Palace. Although one of his arms was cut off by someone last time, his combat strength was still very strong. There was still a possibility that he would be chosen by the Heavenly Deity sect. The Western Deity Palace still had great hopes for Lei Niu. However, at this moment, the Thunder Bull was nowhere to be seen, which gave the elder a bad feeling. I heard that the Lightning Bull seems to have gone to the Lightning territory to cultivate and recover. A young man said. Could it be that he met with an accident in the Lightning territory? I heard that he's bringing experts with him, and there's even a supreme being expert among them. The paragons of the Western Deity Palace discussed in low voices. However, as time passed, the figure of the Lightning Bull still did not appear. Many people knew that something had most likely happened to the Lightning Bull. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to not show up now. This was the selection of disciples by the Divine Realms sect. How big of a matter was this? 6 figures appeared in the sky. The people of the Heavenly God sect had arrived. The one in the lead was still the white-haired old man, followed by 2 burly men, and behind them were 3 young men. Young Master Lin was one of them. His gaze swept across the room and landed on Lu Ming. A cold glint flashed in his eyes. Brat, you want to join the Heaven Deity sect? In your dreams. After this selection, I will find an opportunity to kill this person. Young Master Lin smiled coldly. All right, the second set of arrangements has been completed. The white-haired elder of the Heaven God sect waved his hand and countless inscriptions appeared in the sky. Then light doors appeared in the sky. Chapter 1251. 1251. The major sects of the Yuanlu continent arrive one after another. There were more than 500 light doors floating in the air. Furthermore, with the light door as the starting point, the void started to undulate. Spiritual sense spread out and seemed to form a void passage, but it was difficult to see with the naked eye. Here, each light door represents the entrance to a void passage. There will be various tests in these void passages. Furthermore, every 2 of these void passages can converge randomly. The point of convergence will be your battlefield, and only the winner can continue forward. Moreover, we can see the battle at the intersection point. So, you must perform to your heart's content. The white-haired old man explained. What an amazing screening method. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Each of the 500 people entered a void passage. After passing the round, there would be an opportunity for 2 void passages to converge. The 2 people in the converging void passages would fight. The winner would continue to pass the round, and the loser would be eliminated. Until the strongest one was decided. Moreover, the people of the Tianxin sect could observe from the outside. Therefore, they could choose suitable disciples by observing the performance of the crowd. All right. Now, all of you can randomly choose a light door and enter. The white-haired old man announced, but before he could finish his words, his expression suddenly changed and he looked up into the sky. 9 ancient altars were floating in the sky. Legend had it that in the distant past, the 9 altars had been connected to the 9 superpowers of the Yuan continent. They were the space paths that connected the 9 superpowers. The Tianxin sect had come from one of the ancient altars. One of the other 8 altars was glowing. This scene shocked everyone. The ancient altar glowed. Could it be that another big sect of the Yuanlu continent was coming? Don't tell me there are really other big sects coming over? Oh my god, it's already a surprise that the Tianxin sect could come. Not bad. This is a great opportunity. Many people were discussing excitedly. Even the sovereigns were excited as they stared at the altar. What's going on? Which force is it? Behind the white-haired old man, a burly man frowned and said. The white-haired old man frowned. Buzz. The altar trembled slightly and many inscriptions glowed. The light grew brighter and brighter. Finally, a few figures emerged from the altar. There were a total of 5 people. 2 of them were young men, and the other 3 were 2 middle-aged men and a middle-aged woman. However, it seemed that the middle-aged woman was the leader. All 5 of them carried long swords on their backs and wore purple robes with strange patterns embroidered on them. Jiuxiao Sword Sect. The white-haired elder of the Heaven God sect changed his expression slightly. It seems like I'm not late. I've finally arrived. The middle-aged woman carrying a long sword said. Jiuxiao Sword Sect, what are you doing here? The white-haired elder of the Heaven God sect said coldly. Of course, I'm here to select young talents to join my Jiuxiao Sword Sect. I don't welcome you? The middle-aged woman smiled. The deity sect was the first to arrive at the continent group of the divine ruins. All of this was also arranged by us. The white-haired old man said coldly. You're just one step ahead. Besides, how much energy would it take to set up these? The continent group of the divine ruins does not belong to the Tianxin sect alone. Naturally, our Jiuxiao Sword Sect can also come. The middle-aged woman said indifferently. On the side, the people from the continent of the Divine Ruins group were extremely excited when they saw this scene. Another big sect of the Yuanlu continent had come to recruit disciples. This way, the probability of being selected would undoubtedly be higher. The young men were especially overjoyed. Buzz. Right at this moment, the altar above them began to tremble again, and it began to glow. Everyone was dumbfounded. It's moving again. Could it be another big sect of the Yuanlu continent? What's going on? In the past, for countless years, there has never been a major sect that came to the continent group of the divine ruins to select disciples. Why are there so many major sects coming this time? This is a good thing, a good thing. The crowd discussed excitedly, but in the next moment, their pupils dilated sharply. That was because, apart from that altar, there was another altar that was emitting light. The people in the Divine Ruins continent group were stunned. There were many great sects in the Yuanlu continent. The white-haired elder of the Heavenly God sect and the others looked extremely gloomy. Buzz. Buzz. The 2 altars let out 2 light hums, and a few figures appeared on each of them. On one of the altars, 5 figures appeared. They were all men, and they exuded a mighty pressure as if they were the kings of all beasts. On the other side, 6 figures appeared. Each of them had monstrous demonic chi and demonic might that shook the world. Both sides had young men following them, curiously looking around. Dragon God Valley, Tianyu Demon Sect. The white-haired old man muttered, his eyes flashing with solemnness. Aha, it seems that I'm not too late. The Tianxin sect has not succeeded yet. On the side full of the aura of the king of 10,000 beasts, a burly man laughed. They were people from Dragon God Valley. It's fine as long as you're not late. One of the people from the Tianyu Demon Sect, a tall and thin old man, spoke. The Jiuxiao Sword Sect, the Tianyu Demon Sect and the Dragon God Valley Sect stepped out, forming a square with the people of the Tianxin Sect. It's too cheap for you to come here now. Everything here was set up by us. The white-haired elder said. It's just a few arrangements. We'll compensate you according to their value. The middle-aged woman from Jiuxiao Sword Sect said. That's right, these are all trivial matters. The tall elder from the Tianyu Demon Sect sneered. In the end, the white-haired elder had no choice but to agree to the other 3 forces participating in the selection of disciples. Because in the Yuan continent, these 3 forces were not weaker than the Tianxin sect. They were forces of the same level. At the scene, more than 500 young powerhouses' eyes shone with a burning light. They were extremely excited. The 4 major sects of the continent had come to recruit disciples. This was an unparalleled opportunity. They were full of anticipation and secretly vowed to grasp it. All right, you can start now. The white-haired elder looked at Lu Ming and the rest again. Let's go. This is my chance. I must join a major sect in the Yuanlu continent. In the future, I will break through the emperor level and become a saint. I will step onto the peak. No one can stop me. The eyes of the paragons glowed as they charged toward the doors of light. Buzz. Whoosh. One by one, the elites rushed into the light door and disappeared. Little Qing, let's go. Lu Ming looked at Xian Yanqing, who nodded. The two of them flew towards a door of light. You stop right there. At this moment, a cold voice was heard. A figure appeared in front of Lu Ming, blocking his way. It was young Master Lin, a heaven's favorite from the heavenly god sect. Young Master Lin's face was very gloomy. Originally, if there was only one deity sect, he had a way to prevent Lu Ming from joining the deity sect and then find an opportunity to kill Lu Ming. Chapter 1252. 1252 Chapter 1252 Challenging Young Master Lin. But now the situation had changed. Jiuxiao Sword Sect, Tianyu Demon Sect, and Dragon God Valley were all here. Even if the Tianxin sect didn't choose Lu Ming, he might join the other three sections. Young Master Lin would never allow that to happen. Therefore he stood in front of Lu Ming. Many people looked at young Master Lin in shock and didn't understand what had happened. However, some people were enlightened as they knew about the conflict between Lu Ming and young Master Lin. Half a day ago, Lu Ming had a conflict with young Master Lin. They even fought. In the end, young Master Lin couldn't do anything to Lu Ming. I knew that this matter wouldn't end like this. What? There was such a thing? Lu Ming is so powerful that even the Heaven's Pride experts of the Tianxin sect can't do anything to him? I don't think young Master Lin has used his full strength. However, Lu Ming's combat strength is truly terrifying. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it either. Many people were discussing. Many people were shocked when they found out about the conflict between Lu Ming and young Master Lin. The eyes of the white-haired elder of the Heavenly God sect and the others moved, but they did not say anything. The people from the other great sects watched with interest. What is it? Lu Ming frowned and said coldly. You are not qualified to enter the Void Passage and participate in the test. Young Master Lin said. Laughable. Just because you say I'm not qualified, I'm not qualified? Lu Ming sneered. Deacon. At this moment, young Master Lin cupped his fists towards the white-haired old man and said, Deacon, Lu Ming has no respect for the deity sect at all. He thinks that he has some talent, but he actually looks down on the deity sect. If such a person were to join the deity sect, he would be an unruly person and not worthy of being trained by the deity sect. Please disqualify him from the assessment. Oh, there's such a thing? The white-haired old man frowned. You're really making irresponsible remarks. When have I ever been disrespectful to the Tianxin sect? If I don't grovel and grovel to you, then I'm being disrespectful to the Tianxin sect? Lu Ming sneered. Lu Ming, don't quibble anymore. You're speaking arrogantly and looking down on my deity sect. I heard it with my own ears. Also, the Ice Dragon can testify. Young Master Lin said. Yes, this is true. The Ice Dragon coldly spoke. Not only that, Vice Deacon Zhao can also be a witness. Young Master Lin looked at the middle-aged man behind the white-haired old man. This middle-aged man was the one who had appeared and taken young Master Lin away. The middle-aged man nodded and said, There is indeed such a thing. The white-haired old man frowned even more when he saw two people pointing fingers at him. He pondered for a moment and said, If that's the case, then there's no need for him to take part in the assessment. Young Master Lin was overjoyed while Lu Ming burst out laughing. This was blatant slander. From the beginning to the end, Lu Ming only targeted young Master Lin and did not say a single bad word about the Divine God sect. This was purely false. Also, that middle-aged man was obviously in cahoots with young Master Lin. Who knew what benefits young Master Lin gave him? No one from the other three major sects said anything. In their eyes, Lu Ming was just a dispensable minor character. They did not take him to heart at all. Ridiculous, really ridiculous. This is the disciple of a big sect in the Yuanlu continent? His talent is average and his character is even worse. Lu Ming laughed out loud, his eyes filled with mockery. Kid, what did you say? Who are you calling average? Young Master Lin was furious. Of course I'm talking about you. If everyone in the Tianxin sect is like you, then I don't even want to enter the Tianxin sect. Lu Ming sneered. Impudent. How audacious. The middle-aged man from the Heaven God sect and young Master Lin shouted in an overbearing manner. Brat, you managed to escape last time. This time you're dead. Young Master Lin's eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. He enveloped Lu Ming. I managed to escape last time? Are you sure you didn't escape? Well then, I'll challenge you in public and I'll defeat you within 10 moves. Do you dare to accept my challenge? Lu Ming took a step forward. His voice, which was filled with fighting spirit, spread far away. What? Lu Ming challenged young Master Lin and even said that he would defeat him in 10 moves. He's crazy, he's crazy. He's definitely crazy. He's the Heaven's Pride expert of the Tianxin sect. Lu Ming's words caused a commotion. The Tianxin sect was a big sect in the Yuan continent. In the hearts of the people in the continent of the divine ruins, it was a high and mighty existence, an unfathomable and powerful force. In everyone's hearts, the Heaven's Pride sect's prodigies were unparalleled and powerful existences. Now, Lu Ming actually said that he wanted to challenge young Master Lin. What was even more ridiculous was that he wanted to defeat young Master Lin within 10 moves. How was this possible? No one would believe it. At this moment, the Heaven's favorites who didn't fly through the door stopped. They were not in a hurry to go in. Instead, they watched from the outside. This Lu Ming is strong in the divine wilderness continent, but he still dares to be so arrogant here. Now he even dares to offend the elites of the Tianxin sect. He's really seeking his own death. Dark Child stood in the void and sneered. What do you know? I don't think so. A voice rang out. It was Long Chen. Dark Child's expression changed slightly. He was very afraid of Long Chen, but he was disdainful in his heart. Just wait and see. This Lu Ming will die a terrible death. At this moment, everyone's eyes landed on young Master Lin. A Heaven's Pride expert from a small continent was challenging a Heaven's Pride expert from the Heavenly God sect. Would young Master Lin accept the challenge? If he didn't accept the challenge, he would lose all his face. If this news were to spread back to the Heavenly Divine sect, he would not be able to continue living. Damn it. Young Master Lin hollered in his heart and his eyes were really cold. All right, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. When he fought with Lu Ming earlier, he did not use his full combat strength. He was confident that if he did, he would be able to kill Lu Ming. Moreover, it was impossible for Lu Ming to defeat him within 10 moves. Kill? Young Master Lin was filled with killing intent and a green light spread out. Above his head, his bloodline emerged. He used all his strength as soon as he made his move. He performed the blood fusion and the martial technique of creation to the extreme as he charged toward Lu Ming. Roar. A dragon's roar came from within Lu Ming's body. 9 streams of dragon energy burst out in an instant, and at the same time the third bloodline emerged. Buzz. Lu Ming took a step forward and rushed towards young Master Lin. As he rushed out, the 9 dragon bloodline emerged. When Lu Ming's 9 dragon bloodline appeared, the Dragon God Valley experts' eyes widened in shock. This is the bloodline of the 9 dragons. It's really the bloodline of the 9 dragons. There's actually someone in the world who can awaken the bloodline of the 9 dragons. The experts of Dragon God Valley were in disbelief. Dragon God Valley wants this kid. The leader of the Dragon God Valley team, a burly man, revealed a blazing light. Dragon God Valley, as its name suggested, was related to dragons. Now, they had seen the bloodline of 9 dragons, which was really shocking. Bang! Bang! The 9 dragons stepped in the air and clashed with young Master Lin. An earth-shaking explosion sounded out. Chapter 1253. 1253 Chapter 1253 Defeating young Master Lin. Apart from a few trump cards that he had not used, Lu Ming had almost used all his strength. A few of the 9 dragon claws glowed with lightning as he circulated the martial technique of the lightning concept, the Thunder God Strike. The other dragon claws circulated the prison-suppressing heavenly art. The combination of the two was extremely terrifying. Young Master Lin's green wings brought with them a strong wind. With a flap of his wings, countless wind blades sliced through the air and headed for Lu Ming. After a few loud explosions, the dragon claw broke through the wind blades and reached for young Master Lin. Young Master Lin's expression changed and he was shocked. He didn't expect that he would be at a disadvantage in one move even after using bloodline fusion. Buzz. He flapped his wings and a hurricane swept out. His huge figure suddenly trembled and disappeared from his original spot, appearing on the other side. Another martial technique of creation. Lu Ming frowned. It was obvious that young Master Lin had mastered more than one martial technique. Young Master Lin had used an offensive intent technique before, but now he was using a movement technique. Plus, he had comprehended wind intent, which made his speed extremely fast. Go to hell. Young Master Lin's eyes were cold. He flapped his wings again and turned into a gust of wind, disappearing from his spot. At the same time, a terrifying sense of danger descended on Lu Ming. Roar. A dragon's roar was heard and the devouring power burst out, covering a radius of 100 miles. Then the divine dragon wagged its tail and swept in all directions. Bang. The dragon tail pierced through the void and collided with a pair of extremely sharp wings. Young Master Lin's body was pushed back. But young Master Lin flapped his wings and disappeared. Young Master Lin used two intent martial techniques, and when they worked together his combat strength was really strong. However, he had encountered Lu Ming. Buzz. Whoosh. The dragon claws of the 9 dragons suddenly formed a strange seal. At this moment 2 sharp auras slashed toward Lu Ming. I'll be waiting for you. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. 3 sealing gates suddenly appeared and landed on Lu Ming's left, emitting a brilliant light. The 9 seals of the Gate of God sealed everything. The moment the 3 sealing gates appeared, young Master Lin's green wings appeared and he was suppressed by the 3 gates. Break, break. Young Master Lin hollered and the green light surged like a flood towards the 3 sealing gates. The 3 sealing gates trembled violently, as if they would collapse at any moment. However, this short period of time was enough for Lu Ming. Buzz. Whoosh. The dragon claw struck out and struck young Master Lin. Young Master Lin cried out as the green energy was ripped apart. Bang. In the end, a dragon claw grabbed the neck of the green godly hawk. With a forceful squeeze, the head of the green godly hawk exploded. The green godly hawk also turned into energy and disappeared. Young Master Lin's body flew rapidly in the green light. The bloodline that he had transformed into was destroyed and he was also severely injured. He spat out large mouthfuls of blood and fled for his life. Lu Ming used the 9 dragons' heaven-stomping steps and caught up to young Master Lin. His huge dragon claws grabbed at young Master Lin. Young Master Lin tried his best to counterattack. Unfortunately, he was already severely injured and it was useless. Lu Ming broke through his layers of defense and grabbed him. Young Master Lin was grabbed by the giant dragon claw and couldn't move. This scene left the surrounding spectators in utter shock and disbelief. The proud son of heaven of the deity sect, young Master Lin, was actually no match for Lu Ming. He was really taken down by Lu Ming within 10 moves and his life was in Lu Ming's hands. Furthermore, Lu Ming was only from a mere divine wilderness continent. If it was the strongest geniuses in the divine wilderness continent, it was still possible for them to achieve this. But for it to appear on a young man from the divine wilderness continent, it was truly unbelievable. Even the emperors were stunned. The top geniuses of the Divine Ruins Continent group looked at Lu Ming with grave expressions. Lu Ming's combat ability was unquestionable. He would be one of their greatest opponents. Ah, bastard, let me go, I'm going to kill you. Being defeated in 10 moves and being held in Lu Ming's palm, young Master Lin was so embarrassed that he went crazy. His eyes were red and he roared hysterically. If news of this matter were to spread back to the Tianxin sect, he would definitely become a laughingstock in the future. He hated that he could not wait to skin Lu Ming alive. Oh really? Don't you understand the current situation? Lu Ming sneered and clenched his claws hard. Kacha kacha. Who knew how many bones in young Master Lin's body were broken? His body trembled and he spat out blood. He was in so much pain that he almost fainted. At this moment he was like a weak little chick in Lu Ming's hands. His life or death was in Lu Ming's hands. Believe it or not, I'll kill you right now. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. The killing intent of the 3rd bloodline covered young Master Lin's body like a tidal wave. It made young Master Lin feel like he was in hell. His heart started to tremble. How dare you? He is a disciple of my Tianxin sect. Release him. At that moment, a burly man from the Heaven God sect spoke. He was the expert that Lu Ming suspected to have been bribed by young Master Lin. As he spoke, a terrifying aura bloomed and enveloped Lu Ming. It was as if Lu Ming was enveloped by a mountain, and he could not move at all. Strong, he was too strong. Lu Ming felt that he had no way of resisting this middle-aged man. This middle-aged man was definitely stronger than the black-robed middle-aged man from the South God Palace. His cultivation was above the 3rd level of the martial royal realm. The white-haired old man from the Heaven God sect frowned, but he did not say anything. Haha, the younger generation is just sparring. You're an emperor. Why are you interfering? On the Dragon God Valley's side, a burly man laughed. A stream of aura rushed out and collided with the middle-aged man's aura, knocking it away. Lu Ming's body relaxed and he took a step back and retreated rapidly. Yo, what do you mean by that? The middle-aged man from the Tianxin sect looked at the people from the Dragon God Valley with a grave expression. Nothing, I just can't stand it. The burly man from Dragon God Valley laughed. Let him go. You win this round. At this moment, the white-haired elder of the Heavenly God sect spoke. Here you go. Lu Ming swung his dragon claw and flung young Master Lin's body away. Young Master Lin was already half dead and couldn't even fly. The middle-aged man waved his hand and caught young Master Lin. Damn it, damn it. Young Master Lin's eyes were filled with endless hatred as he glared at Lu Ming. Lu Ming transformed into his human form and held Xian Yanqing's hand. Little Qing, let's go. Since he wasn't allowed to participate in the assessment, then he wouldn't participate and would just retreat. Wait a moment. At that moment, a deep voice was heard. It was the burly young man from Dragon God Valley. I'm Long Quan from Dragon God Valley. How should I address you, young friend? The burly young man asked. Chapter 1254. 1254 Chapter 1254 First Stage. Junior is Lu Ming. Lu Ming cupped his fists and answered. He had a good impression of Long Quan, who had helped him just now, so he would naturally answer his question. Lu Ming, haha, good heroes come from the youth. To be able to cultivate to such a realm in the Divine Ruins Continent group at such an age is really rare. If he doesn't participate in the assessment, wouldn't it be a pity? On behalf of Dragon God Valley, I invite you to take part in the assessment. Long Quan shouted. No, he can't participate. Young Master Lin shouted. Shut up. Who do you think you are? I'm talking. Who are you to interrupt me? Long Quan's eyes turned cold and an extremely strong aura exploded out. The terrifying aura caused the entire world to shake. Young Master Lin's face was ashen white. I'm inviting Lu Ming to take part in the assessment. Do you have any objections? Long Quan looked at the Jiuxiao Sword sect and the Tianyu demonic sect. Finally, his eyes fell on the white-haired elder of the Tianxin sect. No objections. Of course I have no objections. The leaders of the Jiuxiao Sword sect and the Tianyu demon sect nodded. I naturally have no objections to this child's battle prowess. Finally, the white-haired elder of the Heavenly God sect also spoke. Damn it. Young Master Lin roared in his heart and was filled with unwillingness. Ha, that's good. Lu Ming, what do you say? Long Quan laughed and looked at Lu Ming again. How can Junior refuse Senior's kind intentions? Lu Ming cupped his fists and said. All right, let the test officially begin. Long Quan waved his hand. Bus. Whoosh. With a flash, the youths chose the light door and rushed in. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing separated. They each chose a door of light and rushed in. At this moment, some of them had already gone in for a while, but there was still no movement. As soon as Lu Ming rushed into the door of light, he felt a ray of light enveloping him. His body felt a slight warmth, but the next moment, this feeling disappeared. Lu Ming realized that he had appeared in a passage. The passageway was very wide, and the walls were filled with glittering inscriptions. According to the rules, they had to keep going forward in the void passage. Whoever could reach the end would be first. Lu Ming took a step forward and there was no movement. After walking for a few thousand meters, the appearance of the passage in front of them changed. It was now a section that was surrounded by stone walls. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly the moment he stepped into the passage. Because at this moment, his aura was rapidly weakening, and in the end he returned to being ordinary. His cultivation had been suppressed, making him look like a mortal. Not only was his true yuan, but his intent and bloodline had also been suppressed. What? Lu Ming sensed it carefully and found that his prison-suppressing steel bloodline was glowing and fluctuating. As for the third bloodline, Lu Ming felt that he could completely control it and was not suppressed at all. Only the bloodline of the 9 dragons was completely suppressed. Lu Ming's expression did not change as he looked around. On the surrounding stone walls, there were messy carvings of different depths and in a mess. In front of him there was a flash of light and a figure condensed. This person had the appearance of a young man. He wore a black robe, had a cold expression and carried a long spear on his back. Lu Ming could tell at a glance that this person was condensed by the array. Buzz. With a shake of the long spear, the spear's gleam pierced towards Lu Ming like lightning. However, the spear gleam did not contain any primordial qi. It was probably just physical strength, which was similar to Lu Ming's physical strength. Lu Ming instinctively wanted to activate the power of his third bloodline to defeat the figure. However, Lu Ming immediately stopped the eruption of his third blood meridian. Even the bloodline of the 9 dragons could be suppressed in this level. This meant that he had to pass this level without using his bloodline power. If he had used his bloodline power, it was possible that people outside would have sensed it. That would be too special. His prison-suppressing steel bloodline, especially the third bloodline, was very special. He did not want others to find out. At the thought of this, he didn't activate his bloodline. Instead, he used the power of his physical body and rushed to the right, where a black spear was. Buzz. Buzz. The spear's gleam was like lightning, enveloping Lu Ming's entire body. This was an extremely exquisite spear technique. Although it wasn't powerful, the trajectory it moved in was exquisite. There was no vital essence in Lu Ming's body and he could not use his intent. He could not use martial arts to resist at all and could only rely on his physical strength to dodge. Selah. Lu Ming's back was cut by the spear's gleam, tearing a hole in his clothes. If not for Lu Ming's quick reaction, he would have been injured. Fortunately, Lu Ming had fought countless battles along the way and had rich combat experience. He dodged the attacks and rushed to the black spear. He picked up the spear and swept it out. Clang. The 2 long spears collided with a loud clang. Lu Ming felt his arm go numb and he took 2 steps back. The black-robed young man formed by the formation had the same physical strength as Lu Ming. However, he had the support of a mysterious martial arts technique and his attack power was above Lu Ming's. Whoosh, whoosh. The ice-cold tip of the spear turned into a sharp, cold light, piercing the air and stabbing toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming held the long spear in his hand and fixed his gaze on the other party's spear light. Then he stabbed a few times in succession. However, Lu Ming's expression changed at the next moment. He felt that his spear had missed. He had been confident that he could block his opponent's attack after a few thrusts. However, after thrusting out, he realized that his opponent's spear tip shook slightly and continued to stab toward him. The exquisiteness of the spear technique was truly profound and unpredictable. What a powerful spear technique. It combines strength and speed to the peak. When it's used, it's unpredictable and unpredictable. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. If his cultivation had not been suppressed, such a spear technique would be useless in the face of absolute power, even though it was extremely exquisite. No matter how exquisite a martial arts technique was, it would be as fragile as tofu under Lu Ming's palm. But now, under the situation where his cultivation was suppressed, this martial technique was able to release a huge power. Bang! At the critical moment, Lu Ming took a step back and retreated far away. However, there was still a small bloody mark on his chest. He had been stabbed by the spear. Buzz. Whoosh. As soon as Lu Ming retreated, the black-robed young man's spear force surged toward Lu Ming like an endless tide. Lu Ming took a few steps back and tried his best to dodge. At the same time, he was thinking about how to counter the other party's moves. At this moment, outside the ancient city of the Divine Ruins, outside the void passageway, countless people stood in the air and watched. Suddenly, the door of light shone and a figure appeared. Someone has failed. Someone muttered. It was obvious that someone had failed and was teleported out. AI. Those who had been teleported out shook their heads and sighed. If they could not even pass the first stage, it was almost impossible for them to be selected by the major sects of the Yuan continent. The people from the 4 sects of the Yuanlu continent were expressionless. They did not even look at those who failed. The first stage was a test of one's comprehension. If one could not even pass the first stage, it was not worth their attention. Chapter 1255. 1255 The Strongest Heaven's Pride. There were people constantly failing to pass the levels and being transported out. Suddenly, a spot of light lit up in the void ahead. It was very eye-catching. The crowd looked over and saw a fighting ring in the light spot. A young man stepped into the fighting ring. That's the Northern Deity Palace's ice sky. I didn't expect him to be the first to break through the first stage. He's the strongest heaven's favorite among the younger generation of the North God Palace. You really live up to your reputation. Many people sighed as they recognized this young man. The North Divine Palace was the most powerful force among the four great divine palaces. As the number one genius of the North Divine Palace, there was no need to doubt his strength. He was absolutely terrifying. After arriving at the fighting ring, Bing Kong sat down cross-legged and waited quietly. Now that he was alone, he couldn't continue down. He had to wait for the other void passages to converge with his and for others to come to this battle platform. The two of them would fight and the winner would be able to continue down. At this moment, another light spot appeared in another direction. There was also a fighting ring in the light spot. A young man with a zither on his back stepped into the fighting ring. This young man had a slender figure and was refined. He had a faint smile on his face and looked like an elegant young master. Eden, the most powerful heaven's favorite of the Eastern God Palace. Eden with the sound of phoenix zither and phoenix cry. Someone spoke out, revealing the origin of this person. This person's reputation was no less than that of Ice Sky. Eden, with his zither on his back, also stood in the fighting ring and waited quietly. Almost at the same time, two spots of light appeared in the void. Just like before, the two spots of light were battle stages. A young man stepped out from each of them. One of them had purple hair and a heroic spirit. He was the number one genius of the South God Palace, Wuxia. The other person carried a combat sword on his back. He was like a divine sword that had been unsheathed, and his sword chi soared to the sky. This person was the strongest heaven's favorite of the Western deity palace, Jianghu. The most powerful heaven's favorites of the four divine palaces had all appeared on their respective battle platforms. It was obvious that their space passages did not converge in the first round. In the void passage, Lu Ming continued to avoid the black-robed young man's attacks. At the same time, he was thinking of a way to break the attack. The surroundings, those carvings on the stone walls. At this moment, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The carvings on the stone walls were very intriguing. Upon closer inspection, it seemed to be a spear technique. It was an extremely wondrous spear technique. As Lu Ming dodged the black-robed youth's attacks, he studied the carvings in detail. In Lu Ming's eyes, the carvings started to change. Slowly, there seemed to be a figure practicing spear techniques. This spear technique can break this young man's spear technique. Lu Ming's eyes lit up after a while. He finally knew what this test was about. It was about one's comprehension. The purpose of suppressing one's cultivation, intent, and bloodline was to allow the participants to comprehend a spear technique from the carvings on the stone wall so that they could break the opponent's spear technique. Of course, not everyone was skilled in spear techniques. Some people were skilled in sword techniques and they might encounter sword techniques. Once the key point was discovered, it was not difficult for Lu Ming. Lu Ming's comprehension was already very amazing. Bus. Whoosh. Lu Ming shook the long spear in his hand. A sharp spear ray shot out like lightning and collided with the black-robed young man's long spear. Clang, clang, clang. A series of violent sounds rang out, and in the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged dozens of moves. As expected, he can break the opponent's martial technique. The more Lu Ming used it, the faster his speed became. The long spear was like a black dragon, dancing in the air. Whoosh. After a dozen more moves, the long spear in Lu Ming's hands turned into a black lightning, breaking through the opponent's heavy spear screen and stabbing his heart. Bang! The black-robed youth exploded. The first stage passed. Lu Ming stepped out. After crossing the passage, there was a bright light in front of him. It was a fighting ring. Lu Ming stepped forward and walked onto the fighting ring. It's still me alone. Looks like I'll have to wait. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he sat cross-legged on the fighting ring. Outside, the onlookers had also seen Lu Ming. Lu Ming is indeed impressive. He's the sixth to clear the first level. For an elite of the divine wilderness continent to be able to do this, it's truly shocking. Some people were discussing. Just now, after the four most powerful heaven's favorites of the four directions divine palace stepped onto the battle stage, the number one heaven's favorite of the Blood Sun continent, the second-ranked continent in the continent group of the divine ruins, followed closely behind them. The number one heaven's favorite of the Blood Sun continent was the fifth to step into the fighting ring. Lu Ming was the sixth to step into the fighting ring. After a while, more and more light spots appeared in the void. The other powerful heaven's favorites of the four directions divine palace, such as Ice Cold, Ji Hongqian, Wang Zhen, and so on. Long Qin also stepped into the fighting ring around the same time as the other geniuses. Then Xian Yinqing, Xian Yinjuan, and the others also appeared. As long as the key point was discovered in the first stage, it would not be too difficult. Although many people were eliminated, there were even more people who succeeded. There's a convergence of space passages, someone said. Sure enough, a spot of light flashed, and a hole appeared on the side of the fighting ring. A young man stepped out of it. There were 2 people in the fighting ring. The 2 of them had to fight. The winner would continue and the loser would be eliminated. The 2 of them soon engaged in a fierce battle. After that, more and more space passages started to merge. Of course, they were all successful. It was impossible for them to fail. Lu Ming was sitting cross-legged when the fighting ring suddenly shook. A tunnel entrance appeared on one side of the fighting ring. A young figure appeared from the tunnel. The man walked out of the passage and stepped into the fighting ring. His expression changed drastically when he saw Lu Ming. He had witnessed Lu Ming's shocking combat strength when he fought young Master Lin. His combat ability was worlds apart from Lu Ming's. What bad luck. I've met this freak in the first round. The young man's mouth was filled with bitterness and helplessness. Lu Ming stood up and walked toward the young man. Lu Ming, I know I'm not your match, but I'll do my best to fight you. The young man said. This was not an ordinary battle. It was a major sect in the Yuanlu continent recruiting disciples. He could not admit defeat. No matter what, he had to fight. As long as he displayed himself to his heart's content, perhaps he would be noticed by the powerhouses of the major sects in the Yuan continent. After all, the major sects of the Yuanlu continent did not recruit disciples. They only recruited disciples based on combat strength. No one knew the criteria for recruiting disciples. What if he was chosen? Do what you want, I'll give you the chance to attack. Lu Ming said. Many thanks. The other party cupped his fists. Then he performed the blood meridian fusion and burst out with his strongest combat strength, attacking Lu Ming. Although the young man's cultivation was not bad, he was still far from Lu Ming's level. Lu Ming did not defeat him in a single blow. Instead, he let the young man display his strongest combat strength before he defeated him. The other party was extremely grateful to Lu Ming. Chapter 1256. 1256 Chapter 1256 First. After defeating his opponent, the space distorted, and his opponent was teleported out. Another void passage appeared in front of the fighting ring. Lu Ming stepped into it. At the same time, in the other battle platforms, there were also many space passages that converged. Bing Kong Yidian Zi Wuji Jianzhan, and the others had also easily defeated their opponents and entered the next round. On the Divine Wilderness Continent's side, Long Qin easily defeated his opponent and advanced to the next stage. Xian Yinqing, who had attained the 7th level of the spiritual god realm and obtained the inheritance of an unparalleled existence, advanced to the next stage with terrifying combat strength. In addition, Xian Yinjuan's cultivation had improved a lot during this period of time. He had actually entered the 6th level of the spiritual god realm and defeated his opponent to enter the next stage. The unscrupulous monk and Yang Padian also passed by luck. However, Dark Child and the moonless female Bodhisattva encountered strong enemies and were defeated and eliminated. In the outside world, countless people were watching. The experts from the 4 major forces of the Yuan continent were also watching carefully to see if there were any good seedlings that were suitable for their sections. Soon the first stage was almost over. Originally, there were more than 500 people. About 100 people did not pass the first stage, and half of the remaining 400 people would be eliminated if they fought in pairs. Only about 200 people could continue to advance and pass the second stage. Lu Ming stepped into the void channel again and continued to move forward. After about 1,000 meters, his surroundings suddenly changed and he appeared in an unfamiliar environment. In the surroundings, powerful auras rose up like smoke. Countless experts were killing each other, and their murderous intent was shocking. Whoosh! A terrifying sword ray slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming threw a punch and shattered the sword ray. Kill? A burly man with a huge sword in his hand charged at Lu Ming with bloodshot eyes. What's going on? Lu Ming frowned. Why did he suddenly come here? It's an illusion. Lu Ming sensed carefully and suddenly raised his eyebrows. He saw something fishy. This should be an illusion. Lu Ming was in an illusion. Everything is an illusion. Lu Ming muttered. His heart was unmoved and he stuck to his heart. Kill, kill? A few armored generals with giant axes and long spears charged at Lu Ming. Their intense killing intent sent chills down everyone's spine. However, Lu Ming did not seem to notice it. He allowed the huge axe and long spear to hit him, his expression calm. A shocking scene happened. The huge axes and long spears struck Lu Ming's body, but it was as if they had struck the void or an illusion. Lu Ming was completely unharmed. Lu Ming's expression was calm as he stepped forward. This was a battlefield and the killing was extremely intense. Blood was everywhere and the killing intent was as cold as a blade. When one was in it, it felt extremely real, as if it had really happened. Those with weak will, even if they knew that this was an illusion, would inevitably be affected and thus develop fear. However, Lu Ming's resistance to illusions was already very strong. His heart was unmoved as he walked on the battlefield, unmoving like a mountain, even when the swords and sabers were on his body. His pace was not very fast. Step by step he walked on the battlefield. Brat die. There was a loud shout in the sky. A palm print, like the hand of heaven, fell towards Lu Ming. This was definitely the palm of an emperor. At this moment, Lu Ming had an illusion that he would be reduced to ashes immediately if the palm landed. This feeling made Lu Ming have an instinctive urge to retaliate, to counterattack, and to save himself. This was a human's instinct. Anyone would have this instinct in such a situation. No, if I make a move, I'll only sink deeper and deeper. Lu Ming gritted his teeth and endured the attack, allowing the palm print to land on him. Boom. With a loud boom, the palm print dispersed, but Lu Ming was completely fine. Boom. Lu Ming secretly heaved a sigh of relief. The feeling of being slapped to death in the next moment and having to hold back and not retaliate was not a good feeling. Lu Ming continued to move forward. Following that, all sorts of attacks landed on him. There were even attacks that exceeded the third level of the Emperor realm. However, Lu Ming remained unmoved. He walked through the battlefield alone. In the end, he used half an hour to cross the entire battlefield. When Lu Ming passed through the battlefield, it disappeared and he reappeared in the void channel. There was a flash of light ahead. Lu Ming walked over and found another fighting ring. There was no one in the fighting ring. Lu Ming stepped into the fighting ring and sat down cross-legged. In the outside world, everyone was watching seriously. I wonder who will be the first to pass the second stage. I heard from the experts of the Heaven Deity sect that the second stage is an extremely strong illusionary realm. It tests one's willpower and is extremely difficult. Up until now, more than 30 people have failed to pass the stage and have been eliminated. In my opinion, the strongest Heaven's Pride experts of the 4 divine palaces are still the most likely to pass the second stage. That's right. Bing Kong, Eden, Ziwuji, and Jian Zhan are the most likely candidates. However, it's not impossible for Shui Mingyang and Lu Ming to be the candidates. Although Shui Mingyang and Lu Ming are very strong, they are still slightly weaker than the other 4. The surrounding onlookers had already known the contents of the second stage from the experts of the Tianxin sect. At this moment, they were all guessing who was the first person to pass the second stage. At that moment, another light spot appeared in front of the first row of light spots. It was the same as the first row of light spots, and inside it was a battle platform. A void tunnel appeared. Who's the first to succeed? Everyone's eyes were fixed on the void passage. A young man stepped out and appeared on the fighting ring. It's actually him, Lu Ming. I didn't expect it to be Lu Ming. He's the first to clear the second stage. Amazing, amazing. Don't tell me that Lu Ming has the ability to suppress everyone and get first place? Not necessarily. For Lu Ming to be able to come this far from a small continent like the Divine Wilderness continent, his will and willpower must be very shocking. Otherwise, it would be difficult for him to come this far. However, this does not necessarily mean that he has combat power. It's hard to say who will be the final number 1. Lu Ming's appearance caused an uproar at the scene. Umph. The burly man from the Heavenly Divine sect snorted coldly. He was rather unhappy. Young Master Lin's eyes were about to spit fire. Haha, not bad, this kid is not bad. The leader of the Dragon God Valley team burst into laughter. He looked at Lu Ming in the fighting ring with admiration. The other experts from the Jiuxiao Sword sect and the Chanyu Demonic sect also nodded. In the path of cultivation, determination and willpower were also very important. Lu Ming sat cross-legged in the fighting ring and continued to wait. In the outside world, after Lu Ming's appearance, light spots began to appear one by one. This time, the number one genius of the Eastern God Palace, Eden, followed closely behind Lu Ming. He was the young man with the guqin on his back. After that, it was the Ice Sky of the North God Palace. Then, Zi Wuji of the South God Palace, Jian Zhan of the West God Palace, and Shui Mingyang of the Blood Sun Continent appeared almost at the same time. After them, the first to appear was actually Long Qin, which surprised many people. Chapter 1257. 1257 Chapter 1257 Battling Wang Zhen. After Long Qin, it was Ji Hongqin and Wang Zhen's turn. Surprisingly, Xian Yinqing appeared at almost the same time as these heaven's favorites. Slowly, more and more fighting rings appeared, and the number of people eliminated had reached about 50. Of the 200 people, about 50 were eliminated, leaving about 150. At this time, more than 70 fighting platforms had appeared in the void. When more than 70 fighting platforms had appeared, the void channel where the winners of the next round were in began to merge with the previous one. Lu Ming opened his eyes. A passage appeared on one side of the fighting ring. At the entrance of the passage, a young man stepped out. Just like before, the young man's face turned pale when he saw Lu Ming. How unlucky, the man muttered. Lu Ming's battle with young Master Lin was too powerful. Those who had seen him fight knew very well that they were no match for Lu Ming. Meeting Lu Ming was equivalent to ending the assessment early. I will fight with all my strength. The young man shouted loudly. He used all his strength and rushed toward Lu Ming. However, the result was obvious. He was easily defeated by Lu Ming. On the other fighting rings, battles also broke out. This battle was equivalent to the battle between the top 75 and the top 150. This battle was much more intense than the previous one, because those who could make it to the end would be stronger and stronger. The heavens' favorites like Eden and Bing Kong easily defeated their opponents and won. That is, the bloodline of the ancient dragon elephant. The Dragon God Valley's experts were paying attention to the battles on the battle platforms. Suddenly their eyes widened in surprise. On one of the battle platforms, Long Qin used his bloodline fusion and crushed his opponent, winning the battle. It's really the Archean dragon-esque elephant bloodline. It's really shocking. There are actually 9 dragon bloodlines in a mere continent group of the divine ruins. Now, even the Archean dragon-esque elephant bloodline has appeared. The expert from the Jiuxiao sword sect side. That woman is not bad either. Such pure demonic qi and demonic will. An expert from the Tianyu demonic sect stared at one of the battle platforms. Xian Yinqing was fighting against another heaven's favorite, and Xian Yinqing had also won easily. Ever since Xian Yinqing obtained the inheritance of that demonic cultivator, her cultivation and combat strength had been improving rapidly. Also, that one is not bad. The powerhouses from the 4 great forces of the Yuan continent were paying attention to the battles on each fighting ring. They nodded their heads frequently. Obviously, some people made them quite satisfied. In the end, all the battles came to an end. The losers were all eliminated, and the victors moved on to the next stage. On the Divine Wilderness Continent's side, Yang Patian, the unscrupulous monk, lost to his opponent due to his lacking cultivation. As for Lu Ming, Long Qin, Xian Yinqing and Xian Yinjuan, they had all advanced. After Lu Ming won, he continued to step into the void channel. This round was more difficult than the previous 2. Not only did it test one's determination, but it also tested one's combat power. However, to Lu Ming it was still an easy pass. This time, Lu Ming was the first one to pass the 3rd level and appeared on another platform. This round was not too difficult for Lu Ming. However, it was extremely difficult for the other geniuses. 25 people were eliminated in this round. Only the remaining 50 people successfully passed the test. What a coincidence. When the void passages converged, a figure stepped into the fighting ring where Lu Ming was. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. Wang Zhen. The person who had stepped into Lu Ming's fighting ring was Wang Zhen, one of the 3 strongest geniuses of the South God Palace. When Wang Zhen saw Lu Ming, his face darkened and a cold glint flashed in his eyes. It's Wang Zhen. Wang Zhen actually met Lu Ming so early. This match is going to be interesting. A battle between 2 strong powerhouses. Many people revealed excited expressions. Wang Zhen was one of the 3 strongest heaven's favorites in the South God Palace. Although his reputation was not as good as Zi Wuji's, He was not to be underestimated. In the entire continent of the Divine Ruins, Wang Zhen was the top heaven's favorite. His combat strength was definitely not weak. Although the combat strength that Lu Ming displayed was very strong, they had not fought before. It was still unknown who was stronger and weaker. Lu Ming, you're quite powerful. Unfortunately, you've offended too many people. How about we make a deal? If you lose to me, I can help you settle those troubles. Wang Zhen's eyes turned as he spoke. Help me settle the trouble? I want to know how you're going to settle this. For example, that young Master Lin must hate me to the core right now. How do you want to settle this? Lu Ming said with a faint smile. My Wang family still has some influence in the South God Palace. If you lose to me on purpose, I will put in a few good words for you in front of young Master Lin. At that time you can apologize and this matter will be over. Wang Zhen said confidently. You want me to lose to you so that you can be chosen by the major sects of the Yuanlu continent, right? Since your Wang family is so capable, why don't you just put in a few good words for yourself? Then you can join a big sect in the Yuanlu continent. Why do you need to play such a low-level trick? Lu Ming revealed a mocking expression. Lu Ming, I'm talking to you nicely. Don't refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. If we really have to fight, I'm not afraid of you. Wang Zhen said with a gloomy face. Then why are you still talking? Make your move. You don't have to worry about my matters. Lu Ming smiled faintly. You don't know how to appreciate my kindness. Bang. Wang Zhen said coldly as he took a step forward. As he did so, a milky white light shot up from his body. This light was incomparably holy, as if it could purify all evil. Divine sword of holy light. Wang Zhen was bathed in the pure white holy light. He clenched his hands in the air and two pure white combat swords appeared in his hands. The two combat swords crossed and slashed out, forming a cross-shaped sword chi that was aimed at Lu Ming. Buzz. Lu Ming took a step forward. With a flash of his body, he dodged the cross-shaped sword aura and charged toward Wang Zhen. Holy light storm. Wang Zhen's figure continued to spin, and endless holy light was driven, forming a sword storm that poured toward Lu Ming. Small tricks. Lu Ming laughed contemptuously and burst out with 9 streams of dragon energy. He activated the prison-suppressing heaven technique and threw a punch. The prison-suppressing heavenly art could suppress everything. Even if you had tens of thousands of sword chi, you could break them with a single punch. Boom. The endless sword chi storm was shattered in an instant. Wang Zhen's expression changed. He crossed his swords in front of him to block Lu Ming's fist. With a loud thud, Wang Zhen was sent flying by Lu Ming's punch. I don't believe it. Supreme Holy Light Technique. Wang Zhen shouted and a battle armor appeared above his head. It was a milky white battle armor, and the holy light was vast and mighty, like the deep sea. This was Wang Zhen's bloodline, a battle armor. Moreover, when Wang Zhen used the bloodline fusion, it was very strange. It was somewhat different from the others. When he used the bloodline fusion, it was as if he was wearing a battle armor directly on his body, causing his aura to soar wildly. A milky white ray of light shot towards Lu Ming. Chapter 1258. 1258 Chapter 1258 Battle between Sisters. A martial technique of creation. Without a doubt, Wang Zhen had also used a martial technique of creation. The martial technique of conception of holy light. This beam of light looked peaceful, but it had the power to destroy everything. In Lu Ming's body, the essential core continued to circulate. With the support of the 9 dragon energies, it was filled with explosive power. Boom. Activating the prison-suppressing heaven technique, Lu Ming's palm was like a knife as he slashed at the beam of light. Break. As soon as Lu Ming finished speaking, the light beam was split into 2 by Lu Ming's palm. How can there be such a powerful force? Wang Zhen roared in disbelief in his heart. In terms of cultivation, his cultivation had reached the middle 8th level spiritual god realm, which was stronger than Lu Ming's. After performing the blood fusion and using martial arts techniques of intent, he was still broken by Lu Ming's palm. Most importantly, Lu Ming had not performed the blood meridian fusion and had not revealed his strongest combat strength. Previously, when Lu Ming fought with young Master Lin, he had more tricks up his sleeve. Wang Zhen found it hard to accept that he had been able to break through his killing move even before he had unleashed his full power. Holy Light 9 Beheading. The armor on Wang Zhen's body was extremely bright. The 2 combat swords in his hands condensed into one and he slashed 9 times in a row. The power of the 9 swords stacked up and exploded with a terrifying power. Roar. A dragon's roar was heard as Lu Ming burst out with the 9 dragon bloodline and transformed into 9 dragons. He stepped out with his dragon claws and continuously clashed with the milky white sword radiance. Boom, boom, boom. After 9 consecutive explosions, the milky white sword radiance shattered into pieces. Buzz. Then the 9 dragons launched a series of attacks. Some used the prison suppression heavenly art, while others used the thunder god strike. In the air, the shadow of the prison suppressing steel appeared and pressed down on Wang Zhen. Lightning condensed into a phoenix, which spread its wings and flew toward Wang Zhen. Bang, bang, bang. The powerful attack landed on Wang Zhen's armor, causing it to shake violently and let out an unpleasant creak. In the end, it couldn't bear the heavy load and directly exploded. Wang Zhen wailed and spat out a large mouthful of blood as he was sent flying. With a twist of their bodies, the 9 dragons appeared in front of Wang Zhen in an instant. Their dragon claws struck down and heavily struck on Wang Zhen's body. Wang Zhen was as weak as a little chick. He was heavily smashed onto the fighting stage, blood spurting out of his mouth like crazy. I admit defeat, I admit defeat. Wang Zhen admitted defeat in humiliation. Lu Ming could continue to attack if he did not admit defeat. After Wang Zhen admitted defeat, the space around him distorted and his figure was teleported out. Damn it, this bastard. After coming out, Wang Zhen was roaring in his heart. He was not confident that he would be eliminated so early. He did not know if he could catch the eyes of the major sects in the Yuanlu continent. If he fell behind, he would make Lu Ming pay the price. He swore in his heart. Look, are they sisters? So similar. They really look like each other. And they're both so beautiful. They're devastatingly beautiful. At this moment, someone shouted. Wang Zhen looked toward the source of the voice and saw 2 female characters on one of the fighting rings. One of them was wearing a black dress, while the other was wearing a white dress. They formed a sharp contrast, but their looks were almost exactly the same. They were Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan. When 2 identical beauties met, they naturally attracted attention and many people's gazes. Even the experts from the 4 forces of the Yuanlu continent looked at them with interest. Isn't this woman Lu Ming's woman? I'll let Yanjuan teach her a lesson and avenge me. Wang Zhen thought in his heart. On the fighting ring, Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan stood opposite each other, staring at each other with lightning-like eyes. Not long after, the 2 of them once again engaged in battle, and this time the victor was bound to be determined. Xian Yanqing, you're a weirdo. Today I'm going to officially eliminate you on behalf of the royal family and the Xia family. Xian Yanjuan spoke coldly, his face still showing his arrogance and disdain. Xian Yanjuan, don't put on such a high and mighty expression. Is your bloodline very noble? In my heart you're worthless. Today I'll completely trample you under my feet and crush your so-called dignity. I'll let you understand that the Xia family is not worth mentioning. Xian Yanqing didn't back down at all and fought back. There's no point in talking nonsense, let's see who's stronger. Xian Yanjuan said. A milky white light emanated from her body, similar to Wang Zhen's. It was a holy light. However, Xian Yanjuan's holy light was purer and more condensed than Wang Zhen's. 9 heavens holy domain. Xian Yanjuan made the first move. With a press of her hand, holy light filled the air and formed a force field that enveloped Xian Yanqing. This is the embryonic form of a domain. No, it doesn't look like it. Xian Yanjuan's attack made the experts from the Tianxin sect and Jiuxiao sword sect raise their eyebrows in surprise. The white-haired elder of the Divine Sky sect was especially delighted. He looked at Xian Yanjuan with admiration. This move again break. Xian Yanqing's face was calm. He pointed his finger like a sword and slashed forward. Black lotus flowers formed in front of Xian Yanqing's fingers. Then, the lotus flowers scattered, and the petals condensed into a lotus sword in the air, which slashed down at the 9 heavenly saint realm. With a plop, the 9 heavens saint realm was actually cut open by Xian Yanqing. You. Xian Yanjuan's expression turned ugly. He didn't expect Xian Yanqing to be able to break through her 9 heavens saint realm so easily. Your cultivation is too weak. Xian Yanqing's indifferent voice came out of his mouth. At the same time, an aura stronger than Xian Yanjuan's burst out from his body. The aura of the 7th level of the spiritual god realm. 7th level of the spiritual god realm. How can you possibly reach the 7th level of the spiritual god realm so quickly? Xian Yinjuan shouted in disbelief. During this period of time she had been very close to Wang Zhen. With the help of the Wang family's strength, her cultivation had progressed extremely quickly. Furthermore, she had also obtained other opportunities, breaking through the hidden gates one after another and reaching the 6th level of the spiritual god realm. She had originally thought that no one in the divine wilderness continent was her match. She did not even fear Long Qin. However, when she saw Lu Ming's display of power and how even young Master Lin, the pride of the deity sect, was not his match, she was shocked and in disbelief. It was a heavy blow to her confidence. But now she realized that even Xian Yinqing, who she had always looked down on and regarded as an anomaly, had surpassed her and reached the 7th level of the spiritual god realm. She found it hard to accept. So what if you've broken through to the 7th level of the spiritual god realm? I can still defeat you. Xian Yinjuan shouted, and the figure of a beautiful woman appeared above his head. She was as holy as a fairy from the 9 heavens. She used her bloodline fusion and attacked Xian Yinqing. Sky Devil Force Field. As Xian Yinqing spoke, a force field spread towards Xian Yinjuan. Xian Yinqing's Sky Demon Force Field was much stronger than before. As soon as Xian Yinjuan's body entered the field, it was as if he had fallen into a quagmire. One thought demonic sky. Xian Yinqing pinched his fingers and demonic qi soared into the sky. Vast demonic might filled the air, like a supreme demonic god. The demonic aura made Xian Yinjuan's heart tremble. Infinite Ways of the Dragon Monarch. Chapter 1259. 1259 Chapter 1259 Defeating Yinjuan. Xian Yinqing was like a demonic woman, her long hair flying in the wind, and her demonic qi was vast. She walked towards Xian Yinjuan with light steps. I won't lose to you. Xian Yinjuan's beautiful face was twisted with anger and excitement. The bloodline she had transformed into bloomed with holy light as she used all her strength to slap Xian Yinqing. Xian Yinqing also raised her hand and lightly slapped out. Bang! The two palms collided, and the holy light was suppressed in an instant. The vast demonic power crushed the holy light like a piece of rotten wood. Whoosh! Whoosh! Then Xian Yinqing waved her hand and a black lotus flower condensed and fell on Xian Yinjuan. Xian Yinjuan's bloodline seemed to be under endless pressure. Deep marks appeared on his body and then it dispersed. Xian Yinjuan's bloodline dispersed and appeared in the rain of light. Her beautiful face was pale and the blood in her mouth was like red plum blossoms. Xian Yinqing continued to step forward and hit Xian Yinjuan with his palm. Xian Yinqing groaned and spat out a few more mouthfuls of blood. As if he had been electrocuted, he flew far away and fell on the fighting ring. How did this happen? Outside, Wang Zhen was dumbfounded. He found it hard to believe. She had gotten to know Xian Yinjuan quite well. Not only was he beautiful, but he was also shockingly talented. With the Wang family's help and her own fortuitous encounter, his cultivation had improved by leaps and bounds. In just a few months he had reached the 6th level spiritual god realm. Even he felt inferior to such talent. He had thought that Xian Yinqing would win, but he didn't expect Xian Yinjuan to lose so easily. This woman is born to be a demon. My Tianyu demon sect wants her. The Tianyu demonic sect's expert looked at Xian Yinqing with a glint in his eyes. Her cultivation level is only higher. The other girl is not bad either. My Tianshin sect wants her. The white-haired elder from the Tianshin sect looked at Xian Yinjuan. Around them the others were envious. The assessment was not over yet, but the two of them had already been decided by the two major forces. They would definitely be able to join the two major forces, no matter what the assessment would be. Impossible. On the fighting ring, Xian Yinjuan cried out in disbelief. Her hair was disheveled and she looked extremely disheveled. She did not look like the peerless princess or goddess at all. As proud as she was, she found it hard to accept this result. In the divine wilderness continent, she was high and mighty, second only to Long Qin. She was ranked second. Since she was young, she had been shrouded in an endless halo, like a moon surrounded by stars. She was the focus of the world. On the other hand, Xian Yinqing was the complete opposite. He was ostracized by the royal family and disdained by the Xie family. He didn't even have the chance to show his face in front of the public. Compared to Xian Yinjuan, they were like heaven and earth. In the past she had never thought that Xian Yanqing would one day defeat her. So when the day came she was at a loss, as if she was in a dream. What pure blood of the Xie family! In our eyes, it's all you self-righteous people who are deceiving your slaviers. In fact, you can't even withstand a single blow. I've defeated you today and I'll defeat Xie Qitian in the future as well. I'll let the world know that your so-called pure bloodline is just a joke. So I won't kill you today. Get lost. As Xian Yanqing spoke, he waved his hand and a gust of wind blew Xian Yanjuan away. The space distorted and Xian Yanjuan was teleported out. Yanjuan, are you all right? As soon as Xian Yanjuan appeared, Wang Zhen flew over and greeted him. I'm fine, Xian Yanjuan said, but his eyes were extremely cold. You lost too? He looked at Wang Zhen and asked. Who did you meet? Lu Ming. Wang Zhen hesitated for a moment before finally gritting his teeth and saying, Lu Ming again. Xian Yanjuan clenched his fists tightly. At this moment, the battles on the various fighting rings had almost come to an end. Those who could reach this stage were all very strong, but compared to the small group of people at the top, the gap was also very obvious, so the battle did not take very long. At this point there were only 25 people left. Each of these 25 people was extremely powerful. For example, the top geniuses of the 4 divine palaces, as well as the geniuses of the 2nd and 3rd continents. It was worth mentioning that there were also many dark horses. Among the 25 people, only 18 of them had stepped onto the Fekta Peak previously. The remaining 7 were newcomers such as Lu Ming, Long Qin, and Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming, Long Qin, and Xian Yanqing seemed to be from the same continent. At this moment, someone spoke out in bewilderment. No way? From the same continent? That's impossible. Apart from the Divine Ruins continent, there were only 3 people from the Blood Sun continent who could make it to this point. If these 3 people came from the same continent, wouldn't they be on par with the Blood Sun continent? By the way, which continent did they come from? I know they are from the Divine Wilderness continent. What? Divine Wilderness continent? That's impossible, right? That small continent? There were sounds of discussion all around. When everyone found out that Lu Ming and the other 2 were from the Divine Wilderness continent, they were all dumbfounded and in disbelief. A single Divine Wilderness continent could actually give birth to so many elites. Furthermore, Xian Yanjuan should also be from the Divine Wilderness continent and had already been chosen by the Tianxin sect. If that was the case, the Divine Wilderness continent would be too shocking. Outside, the crowd was discussing in surprise. Lu Ming and the rest had already stepped into the void passage behind. Not long after Lu Ming stepped into the void channel, he was faced with a storm of attacks. One figure after another condensed and charged toward Lu Ming. At the same time, inscriptions filled the void passage, forming an even more terrifying attack. This trial tested nothing but pure combat power and combat experience. If one wanted to pass this trial, they would have to keep going. Lu Ming burst out with his dragon power and crushed his way through. However, the further he went, the stronger the attacks were and the greater the resistance. Even with Lu Ming's combat strength, he had to put in some effort. Outside the void passage, there were flashes of light from time to time. It was experts being eliminated and transported out. It can't be. This stage is so difficult that even a genius like him was eliminated. Some people were secretly shocked. To be able to make it this far and enter the top 25, they were all extremely talented people. However, there were still people who were constantly eliminated. Could be seen that this round was really too difficult. That's Dried Blood, the 2nd strongest heaven's favorite in the land of Blood Sun. There's also the Ice Dragon, one of the 4 strongest geniuses of the North God Palace. Even he was eliminated. This is too shocking. The space flickered continuously as elites were transported out. Ice Dragon's face was gloomy. He couldn't even pass the level, which made him feel extremely embarrassed. Did you all notice? The 3 from the Divine Wilderness continent have not been eliminated. It's true. Don't tell me that they'll be able to clear it? That's too unbelievable. Some people thought of Lu Ming and the other 2. As time passed, more and more people were eliminated. Chapter 1260. 1260 Chapter 1260 Depressed Young Master Lin. In the end, even geniuses like Ji Hongqian couldn't get through the 4 divine palaces and were teleported out. Guys, look. Someone passed. Suddenly someone shouted. A spot of light lit up in front of them, and a figure appeared in the light. "It's Eden, Eden of the Eastern God Palace," he exclaimed. "It's really Eden. It's not Lu Ming or Bing Kong. It seems that Eden's combat strength is extremely terrifying." Eden was the first one to appear, which was a bit surprising. After all, Lu Ming's performance was very domineering. Many people thought that Lu Ming would be the first to succeed. This time it was not a fighting ring that appeared in the light spot. It was just a platform that could only allow one person to stand. Buzz. At this moment, another spot of light appeared not far from Eden. This time it was Bing Kong, the strongest heaven's favorite of the North God Palace. At the same time, there was only a platform under the ice. He stood on the platform and looked at Eden with sharp eyes. It was as if they could see each other. Eden's gaze also turned to the ice, and there seemed to be a flame bursting out between the two. The second one to succeed was Bing Kong, not Lu Ming. "It seems like I've overestimated him." That's normal. The first few rounds tested one's willpower. Willpower is a huge factor. Lu Ming's willpower is strong, but that doesn't mean that his combat strength is superior to everyone else. Eden, Bing Kong, and the others are all extremely terrifying and have unparalleled combat strength. I'm afraid they can defeat young Master Lin. Shush, lower your voice. Some of them were discussing. When they finished speaking, they quickly shut their mouths and carefully looked in the direction of the Tianxin sect. Unfortunately, although her voice was soft, young Master Lin still heard her. This made his face turn even darker. In the void passageway, Lu Ming was still challenging the levels. However, he did not unleash his strongest combat strength or perform the bloodline fusion. He only unleashed 9 streams of dragon energy, supported by his intent realm, and performed the prison-suppressing heavenly technique, breaking through all the levels. I feel like my water concept is about to break through. In the midst of the battle, the corners of Lu Ming's mouth curled into a smile. When he was in the divine ruins, his thunder, fire, and wind concepts had already broken through to the full circle of level 4. There was also the earth and water concepts, which were still at the peak of level 4 great completion. Now, after a series of battles, his water concept finally showed signs of a breakthrough. As such, Lu Ming was no longer in a hurry. He focused on operating his intent to resist the outside world. He couldn't miss such an opportunity. If he missed it, he didn't know when he would be able to break through again. Lu Ming's speed of clearing the levels gradually slowed down. As time passed, the number of successful challengers slowly increased. Ziwuji, Jianzhan, and Shuimingyang followed closely behind Eden and Bing Kong. Behind Shuimingyang and the other two, a young man with skin as hard as iron stepped out. Everyone recognized him. He was the #1 prodigy of the Third Continent, Tai Hong of the Godly Metal Continent. Not long after, a beautiful woman appeared. She was also a dark horse that rose from a small continent. Before, she had attracted a lot of attention, and now she was the 7th to pass. Lu Ming hasn't appeared yet. It seems like his combat strength isn't that strong. Not bad. Many people were discussing. This made young Master Lin's face even gloomier. His heart was conflicted. Firstly, he wanted Lu Ming to fail the round and be eliminated. However, this would mean that Lu Ming's combat level was low. If Lu Ming could defeat him despite his low combat level, did that not mean that he was even more trashy? Now, he felt very uncomfortable when he heard others discussing Lu Ming's combat level. It's all because of that guy Lu Ming? Young Master Lin gritted his teeth. In the void there were 7 spots of light. In the spots of light there were platforms. 7 people stood on the platforms. It was as if there was a transparent bubble wrapped around a platform in the void. It was arranged in an arc and they could all see each other. Buzz. At this moment, another spot of light appeared, and a figure appeared on the platform. Longqin. The 8th to appear was Longqin. That's the Divine Wilderness Continent's Longqin. This person's cultivation is only at the 7th level of the spiritual god realm, but he actually managed to clear the stage. It's really unbelievable. That's right. 8th level spiritual god realm geniuses like Ice Dragon and Ji Hongqian have been eliminated. He managed to pass the test with his cultivation at the 7th level of the spiritual god realm. Long Chen's appearance caused a wave of discussion. It was extremely shocking. The bloodline of the Archean dragonesque elephant, one of the top 10 battle beasts. It is indeed unfathomable and difficult to predict. The eyes of the experts from Dragon God Valley were burning with passion. The other three powers also revealed expressions of interest. Even in the Yuan continent, it was extremely rare to see someone who could awaken such a bloodline. After Long Chen, another dot of light appeared, and a beautiful woman stepped out. Xian Yanqing. Many people's hearts trembled and they looked surprised. Obviously, they didn't expect the person to be Xian Yanqing. Like Long Chen, Xian Yanqing was also at the 7th level of the spiritual god realm. Even the experts from the 4 forces of the Yuan continent were surprised that he could pass the test. How is that possible? Seeing Xian Yanqing's figure, Xian Yanjuan's body trembled violently. His face was full of disbelief and he couldn't accept it. Xian Yanqing's success meant that he didn't use much of his combat power in the previous battle. This was a huge blow to her. Her heart was filled with jealousy, causing the muscles on her face to twist slightly, making her look a little ferocious. Xian Yanqing and Long Chen looked at each other and nodded slightly. Then they looked around. When they didn't see Lu Ming, they were both surprised. In their opinion, Lu Ming should have already succeeded in clearing the stage. He will definitely succeed. It's just that he has been delayed by something. Xian Yanqing muttered. She had full confidence in Lu Ming. Everyone waited in silence. After a while, 15 people had been eliminated. Initially there were 25 people. Now, 15 had been eliminated and 9 had successfully cleared the level. There was still one person who was still in the midst of clearing the level, and this person was obviously Lu Ming. What's going on? Lu Ming has not come out yet. He has not been eliminated and he has not succeeded in clearing the stage. It is indeed strange. What's so strange about that? I think he's just struggling because he's not strong enough. He's just unwilling to give up. If he's just trash. There were also people who were disdainful and sneered. Everyone looked over and saw that it was the proud son of heaven of the North God Palace, Ice Dragon. On the side of the heavenly god sect, young Master Lin's face turned black again. He was so depressed that he was about to vomit blood. It was an undeniable fact that Lu Ming had defeated him. Now that others were belittling and looking down on Lu Ming, it was the same as belittling and looking down on him. If they said that Lu Ming was trash, they would be saying that he was worse than trash. He had been shot without doing anything, so how could he not be depressed? But he couldn't do anything. Could it be that he had to stand up for Lu Ming and teach those people who belittled Lu Ming a lesson? Wouldn't he be even more depressed? Chapter 1261. 1261 Chapter 1261 Battle between the strong. Time passed slowly but Lu Ming had not appeared. 10 minutes, half an hour, an hour. 2 hours had passed but Lu Ming still did not appear. Some people were already getting anxious. What's going on? Lu Ming hasn't appeared yet. What's going on? Could he have died inside? It can't be. If Lu Ming died inside, the experts of the Heavenly God sect would definitely know. Now that the experts of the Heavenly God sect have not said anything, it means that Lu Ming is not dead. Then why do you need so long? It had been a long time. Even those who had high hopes for Lu Ming were wavering. Previously, Lu Ming had won against young Master Lin. This made some people think highly of him. They felt that even if Lu Ming could not get first place, he would most likely be in the top 3. But now many people were wavering. Some people even guessed that Lu Ming might have used some kind of secret skill in his battle with young Master Lin, which increased his combat strength in a short period of time. However, there were huge aftereffects. At this moment, his combat strength was probably not enough and he was struggling to hold on. As time passed, more and more people accepted this view. Lu Ming was unaware of all this. He was still in the void channel, resisting the attacks from all directions. Right now, he was continuously weakening the power of the prison subduing heaven technique, mainly using his intent to resist and train his intent. As time passed, his comprehension of the water intent became stronger and stronger, and the feeling of a breakthrough also became stronger. A few hours passed. Suddenly, the blue light from the 5-colored concept that surrounded Lu Ming's body suddenly brightened. The blue light represented the concept of water. His water concept had broken through and reached the full circle of level 4. Now he was only left with the earth will, which had not reached the completion of level 4. If his earth concept had also broken through to the great circle of the 4th level, Lu Ming would only need to find time to continuously devour and refine the rough stones. His cultivation would continue to break through until he reached the great circle of the spiritual god realm. Of course, it wasn't that easy to reach the supreme level. One had to transform their intent into a domain. The breakthrough in the water concept had slightly increased Lu Ming's combat strength. Although it was not by much, it was better than nothing. It's done. Lu Ming smiled and pressed his palm down. With the support of the five-colored concept, the power of the prison-suppressing heaven technique skyrocketed. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming's palm was like a prison-suppressing steel, suppressing the heavens. All around, the figures and the attack power formed by the formation were destroyed one by one. Lu Ming's speed was getting faster and faster. There was no way to stop him. In less than 3 minutes, Lu Ming had covered a distance of more than 10 miles. There was a platform in front of him and Lu Ming stepped onto it. He passed. It's Lu Ming. He passed. As soon as Lu Ming appeared, there was a clamor all around. It took me more than 2 hours to clear it, hee hee. Some people sneered and scoffed. When Lu Ming's figure appeared, the light spots that appeared in the first and second stages dispersed one by one like bubbles. In the end, only 10 people passed this round. What? As soon as Lu Ming stepped onto the platform, he saw Xian Yanqing, Long Chen, Eden, Bing Kong and the others. He and Xian Yanqing looked at each other and smiled tacitly. Then they nodded to Long Chen. Eden, Bing Kong, Jianzhan, and the others also looked at Lu Ming one by one. Some were solemn, some were contemptuous, and there were many others. In the air, the 10 of them formed a circle and floated in the air, looking at each other. At this moment, a light spot floated out from the center of the 10 people. Slowly, a fighting ring condensed and floated in the center of the 10 people. It seemed that the battle between the 10 of them was about to begin on this battle platform. Suddenly, 2 of the platforms flew toward the fighting ring. Eden and Tai Hong. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. The 2 people flying towards the fighting ring were Eden and Tai Hong. After the 2 of them flew to the fighting ring, the platform under their feet automatically disappeared. The 2 of them automatically landed on the fighting ring and stood opposite each other. It seemed that the duels were random. Whichever 2 people flew to the fighting ring would fight. Eden, let's fight. Tai Hong's eyes were filled with battle intent. His muscles and skin were like divine metal, emitting a cold light. Come on. Eden opened his mouth. It was very simple. He clenched his fist in the air, and his vital essence condensed into a 9-string zither. You're not going to use a real spirit weapon. Tai Hong's eyes turned cold. I'll use it when I need it, Eden said. His voice was calm, but it revealed his great confidence in himself. Humph, you're really arrogant. Don't you regret it? Hong Tai snorted coldly. The muscles on his body wriggled and his body swelled up. The metallic luster became even more intense. A pair of gloves appeared in his hands. He stomped on the fighting ring and turned into a black light, rushing toward Eden. With a single punch, the entire fighting ring shook violently. Chi-chi. The 9-string zither in Eden's hand floated in front of him. He played the zither with one hand, and sonorous notes spread out like golden spears and iron horses, as if thousands of troops were on the expedition. The zither music was filled with cold killing intent. Tai Hong's expression changed. With a loud roar, he punched the air with his fists. Clang, clang, clang. Tai Hong's fist struck the air, producing a series of metal clanging sounds. Sparks flew from his fist. Buzz. Around the fighting ring, there was an endless amount of sharp chi shooting out. Fortunately, there was a layer of light around the fighting ring that blocked these attacks. Buzz. Tai Hong's body trembled in midair as he took a few steps back. The 9-string zither in Eden's hand also buzzed and vibrated, and he slid back a meter. So strong. Many people's hearts trembled. The short exchange of blows allowed them to see the strength of the 2. Tai Hong's cultivation had actually reached the astonishing peak of the 8th-level spiritual god realm. He was even stronger than Bing Lung, Ji Hongqian and the others. He was no weaker than young Master Lin. Eden, on the other hand, was even more unfathomable. In the exchange just now, many people couldn't see through Eden's depths at all. Again, divine metal breaking the heavens. Tai Hong roared, his entire body turned into metal, like an invincible god of war. He rushed towards Eden and unleashed his martial technique. Buzz, buzz, whoosh. The zither music of Eden started to become more and more rapid. It was as if hundreds of millions of experts were fighting, and the murderous aura was shocking. This kind of attack could kill without a trace. It was absolutely terrifying. Clang, clang, clang. Bursts of rumbling sounds continuously rang out in the air, even more concentrated than iron forging. In an instant, hundreds of sounds rang out. Tai Hong's voice was like a great bell. The more he fought, the fiercer he became. Sometimes he completely disregarded defense and launched a crazy attack. His body was a supreme spiritual weapon with unparalleled defense and attack power. Lose? Tai Hong's eyes revealed a malevolent look. He was the #1 genius of the godly metal continent. He was confident that he would not be weaker than anyone. He would even defeat the geniuses of the Divine Ruins continent. Chapter 1262. 1262 Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Tai Hong was like a war machine forged from a piece of divine metal. He had cultivated his attack and defense to the extreme. He continued to advance, breaking through the zither music of Eden and killing his way toward Eden. Phoenix cry. At this moment, a clear voice came from Eden's mouth. At the same time, his zither music suddenly changed. It was like a phoenix soaring into the sky, and the cry of a phoenix resounded through the sky. A phoenix could be seen flying out of the 9-string zither of Eden. A blazing phoenix bathed in phoenix flames flapped its wings and pounced towards Tai Hong. Bang! Bang! Tai Hong's fists continued to swing out in an attempt to defeat the phoenix. However, in the end, not only did he fail to defeat the phoenix, he was also pushed back by the phoenix. He was pushed back 100 meters and his fists were burned red by the flames. Buzz! The phoenix continued to screech as it flew towards Tai Hong. Break! Die! Tai Hong shouted as his true yuan boiled and a metal man appeared above his head. In ancient times, there was a legend that the human emperor had cast iron men and shook the world. Tai Hong's bloodline was this kind of iron man. There were 9 major acupuncture points on his body, like 9 small suns, emitting 10,000 rays of light. Tai Hong transformed into a man of iron and became even more powerful. He kept attacking the flaming phoenix and punching out with both his fists. Boom! 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 After dozens of explosions, the blazing phoenix and Tai Hong were evenly matched. But at this moment, the cry of a phoenix rang out and a green phoenix flew out. The green phoenix was bathed in the power of wind. It worked together with the blazing phoenix. With a flap of its wings, the wind boosted the flames and the flames filled the sky, spreading towards Tai Hong. Tai Hong was shocked and tried his best to defend, but he was still no match for the 2 phoenixes. So powerful. Eden's strength is truly unfathomable. That's right. Tai Hong's cultivation has reached the peak of the 8th level spiritual god realm. His combat strength is at most a little weaker than young Master Lin's, but he's no match for Eden. Eden is too strong. He hasn't even used his bloodline yet. He hasn't even used the zither on his back. The onlookers stared at the fighting ring and the battle between the two, their eyes full of amazement. He was just a member of the younger generation. With such battle prowess he could definitely fight against a supreme martial artist. He could be called a supreme youth. After a few more moves, Tai Hong finally lost and was completely suppressed. In the end, his bloodline body was defeated and he had no choice but to admit defeat. After Hong Tai admitted defeat, he was teleported out. A stone staircase suddenly appeared in front of the fighting ring. Below the stone staircase was a platform, and Eden's figure was teleported to the platform. He tried but he couldn't get up the stairs. So, he stood on the platform below the stairs and watched the battle. As expected, 2 more platforms flew towards the central platform. This time it was the beautiful woman and the other person was Bing Kong. The stunning woman's combat strength was also very terrifying. She was not weaker than Tai Hong. Unfortunately, Bing Kong was even stronger. With a wave of her hand she could freeze everything. Her martial arts techniques had reached an unfathomable level. It didn't take long for him to defeat the beautiful woman. The stunning woman was teleported out and Bing Kong, like Eden, appeared on the platform below the stairs. Then 2 more platforms flew to the fighting ring. Long Chen. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. One of them was Long Chen while the other was Sword Warrior. This battle had stunned everyone. It wasn't because of the sword battle but because of Long Chen. Jian Zhan's cultivation was unfathomable, and his battle power was unparalleled. His sword light was shocking, and the power of his sword way was something everyone had long prepared for. However, Long Chen's combat strength was beyond everyone's expectations. Long Chen's cultivation was only at the middle 7th level spiritual god realm. However, his combat strength was so strong that even the experts of the major sects in the Yuan continent were dumbfounded. Long Chen transformed into the Archean dragon-esque elephant bloodline. With his bloodline martial techniques as the main force and his intent martial techniques as the secondary force, he unleashed a terrifying combat power. It was as if the Archean dragon-esque elephant had come into being and was sweeping the world. The Archean dragon-esque elephant was one of the top 10 battle beasts. It was famous for its combat strength, and few existences in the world could compare with it. It was absolutely terrifying. It was obvious that Long Chen had gained a lot in the divine ruins, and his combat power had become stronger. In a situation where his cultivation was far behind, he had fought with Jian Zhan for more than 50 moves and was finally defeated. This caused Jian Zhan's expression to turn extremely gloomy. It was just a martial artist in the middle stage of the 7th level spiritual god realm. With his combat strength, he actually spent more than 50 moves to defeat Long Chen, which made him feel very embarrassed. The divine wilderness continent is truly amazing. Many people sighed again. In the top 10, 3 people from the divine wilderness continent had made it in. Furthermore, Long Chen's combat strength was too terrifying. The Dragon God Valley wants this kid. He is a match for our Dragon God Valley. The Dragon God Valley expert said, his eyes burning. What a joke. Although the Archean dragon elephant, with the word dragon in its name, has nothing to do with a real dragon. Don't think too highly of yourself, Dragon God Valley. I think he's very suitable to join my Jiuxiao sword sect. The expert from the Jiuxiao sword sect sneered. In my opinion, he is the most suitable person to enter my Tianshan sect. The white-haired elder of the heavenly god sect spoke. Only the Tianyu demonic sect did not speak. After all, the Tianyu demonic sect cultivated the demonic path. No matter how talented they were, it would be useless to choose the wrong person. After 6 consecutive battles, there were only 4 left. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Zi Wuji and Xue Mingyang. Buzz. Buzz. 2 of the platforms flew toward the fighting ring. Lu Ming was a little stunned because these 2 people were Zi Wuji and Xue Mingyang. The only ones left were him and Xian Yanqing. Finally, it was his turn to fight against Xian Yanqing. The 2 of them looked at each other and smiled. Xian Yanqing flashed his pearly white teeth and waved his little fist at Lu Ming, causing him to smile bitterly. The battle between Zi Wuji and Xue Mingyang had broken out. This was the most intense battle so far. Zi Wuji was the strongest heaven's favorite of the South God Palace, while Xue Mingyang was the #1 heaven's favorite of the Blood Sun continent, which was ranked 2nd. The 2's combat strength was almost the same, and their battle was extremely intense. The 2 of them fought for more than 500 moves. In the end, Zi Wuji was the one who won and obtained the victory with great difficulty. This battle had made everyone clearly realize how terrifying supreme talents like Zi Wuji and Xue Mingyang were. Early 9th level spiritual god realm. Zi Wuji and Xue Mingyang's cultivation bases were both at the early stage of the 9th level spiritual god realm. To be able to achieve such a cultivation at such an age was truly shocking. Needless to say, Jian Zhan, Eden, Bing Kong and Zi Wuji were equally famous, and their cultivation had definitely reached the 9th level of the spiritual god realm. This made the few young men from the 4 major forces of the Yuan continent look solemn. It was obvious that they had not expected to see a young genius with such a cultivation in the mere continent of the divine ruins. After the battle between Zi Wuji and Xue Mingyang ended, Xue Mingyang was teleported out, while Zi Wuji appeared on the platform below the stairs, just like the previous victors. In the end, Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's platform flew to the middle of the fighting ring. The platform collapsed and the 2 of them landed on the fighting ring, facing each other. Chapter 1263. 1263 Suppressing Bing Kong. The surrounding onlookers were also quite surprised. It was not difficult for everyone to tell that Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were definitely lovers. However, this pair of lovers had been arranged to fight each other. Everyone was very curious. What would be the outcome of the 2? On the fighting ring, Lu Ming touched his nose, feeling rather helpless. Lu Ming, do you want to admit defeat? Xian Yanqing smiled cheekily and squinted his big eyes, revealing a sly look. I admit defeat? Sure, but... As Lu Ming spoke, he looked at Bing Kong and the rest at the bottom of the stairs. In a battle with Xian Yanqing, it didn't matter whether he won or lost. If Xian Yanqing wanted him to admit defeat, he would. He was worried that if Xian Yanqing won, he would have to face Bing Kong and the others. With Xian Yanqing's current cultivation, he was no match for Bing Kong and the others. Silly, I'm just joking with you. I can't deal with those guys, so I'll leave them to you. You have to get first place or I won't let you off. Xian Yanqing laughed, then looked around and said, I admit defeat. Xian Yanqing admitted defeat. The space twisted and Xian Yanqing was teleported out. Lu Ming was teleported to the platform at the bottom of the stairs. Everyone was speechless. Lu Ming had won too easily. There were a total of 5 people on the platform below the stairs. Lu Ming, Eden, Bing Kong, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji. The 5 strongest paragons of the Divine Ruins Continent group had been born. Everyone's eyes fell on the 5 of them. At this moment, the white-haired elder of the Heaven God sect stepped out and his voice spread throughout the entire place. Next, the final battle will begin. It's very simple. All of you will climb the stairs. The first person to do so will be first, the second will be second, and so on. On the stairs, you can use any method. As soon as the white-haired old man finished speaking, Bing Kong, Eden, and the others' eyes lit up. They sized each other up and were on guard. Bang! Bang! All of a sudden, the 5 of them stepped forward at the same time, heading up the stairs. As he stepped down, the stairs rumbled as if a mountain had landed on the stairs. What a strong pressure. As soon as Lu Ming stepped onto the stairs, he felt an immense pressure on his body. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. This flight of stairs was indeed not that simple. Standing on the first step, the 5 of them were on guard against each other, preventing each other from attacking. Lu Ming, what right do you have to be with us? Get lost. At this moment, Bing Kong's cold gaze was directed at Lu Ming as he berated him coldly. When the Ice Dragon was defeated by Lu Ming back then, he had always harbored a grudge in his heart. He had secretly begged Bing Kong to take revenge for him when he had the chance. At that moment, Bing Kong immediately made his move. Moreover, the 5 people on the field, Eden, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji, were the strongest heaven's favorites of the 4 Corners Divine Palace. They were on par with him. As for Lu Ming, what was he? How could they stand together with them and compete with them? He wanted to blast Lu Ming down first. Buzz. He threw an icy palm at Lu Ming. The icy cold air seemed to be about to freeze Lu Ming's blood. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold as he struck out with his palm, clashing with Bing Kong's palm force. Bang! Bing Kong's body swayed slightly and he took a step back. Lu Ming's body did not move, but a cold current flowed along Lu Ming's arm and seeped into it. Lu Ming blocked it with his 5-colored concept. A layer of white frost covered his arm and crackling sounds could be heard. In the end, Lu Ming circulated his essential core and shook it violently, dispersing the cold air. What a terrifying cold chi! Lu Ming could feel that the cold air was several times stronger than the Ice Dragon. In a battle of the same level, the Ice Dragon was no match for Bing Kong. Moreover, Bing Kong's cultivation was higher. You have some strength. Let's see how many moves you can take. Bing Kong's eyes darkened and his aura became even colder. Extreme Ice Seal. The icy palm continued to strike at Lu Ming. The extremely cold palm energy was aimed at Lu Ming. The entire space was frozen wherever the palm energy passed. Everything in the space was frozen. The martial technique of creation and its maturity were definitely not at the 3rd level. It should have reached the 4th level. On the side, Eden, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji all had grave expressions. The dragon energy roared in Lu Ming's body. The 9 streams of dragon energy burst out completely. At the same time, the 3rd bloodline emerged. The blood-red energy surged into Lu Ming's body, and a terrifying killing intent rushed towards the ice. Hoo. Lu Ming activated the prison-suppressing heaven technique and punched out with both fists. Bang! 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 The terrifying cold air turned the entire staircase snow white. Eden, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji retreated as they released their Zhenyuan to block the cold air. Lu Ming and Bing Kong exchanged 9 moves in a row. In the end, Lu Ming broke through Bing Kong's palm force and attacked him. If you want me to go down first, then I'll let you go first. Lu Ming bellowed, his aura soaring. With the prison-suppressing heavenly art in his left hand and lightning flashing in his right hand, he cast the Thunder God strike. The lightning phoenix danced in the air as it pounced towards the ice. At the same time, the prison-suppressing heaven art also suppressed the ice. Bing Kong's face was dark and his cultivation was pushed to the extreme. The middle stage of the 9th level of the spiritual god realm was slightly higher than Ziwuji's and Jianzhan's. His true essence was as vast as the ocean. Combined with martial techniques of intent, the power was even more terrifying. Absolute Zero, Ice Ceiling World. Bing Kong's black hair turned snow-white and carried a terrifying cold current. He launched a storm-like attack on Lu Ming. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them fought fiercely and exchanged dozens of moves in a row. However, Lu Ming still had the upper hand. At the moment, there were 9 streams of dragon energy in Lu Ming's body. When they burst out, they were extremely powerful, just like Long Qin. Even if his cultivation level was not high enough, he could make up for it. Lu Ming broke through the endless cold currents and continued to attack the ice. In the end, Bing Kong was forced to retreat by Lu Ming's punch. Blood seeped out of the corner of his mouth. Then Lu Ming continued to step forward and punch the air, constantly blasting the ice. Bing Kong was completely outmatched and was suppressed by Lu Ming. His body shook violently and he finally retreated down the stairs and landed on the platform below. Lu Ming's combat strength is so strong. Even Bing Kong is being suppressed by him. He's indeed powerful. He's only at the 8th level of the spiritual god realm, a full level behind Bing Kong, but he managed to defeat someone stronger than him. He's really powerful. It seems that he was delayed by something when he was clearing the trial. Otherwise, with his combat strength, he would not be so slow. That's right, we've underestimated him. Previously, when Lu Ming was the 10th person to succeed, he took more than 2 hours. Many people thought that Lu Ming's combat strength was not strong and that he might have used some secret skill to fight with young Master Lin. Now, it seemed that it was not the case at all. Lu Ming's combat strength was extremely shocking. He was stronger than they had imagined. Even Bing Kong, who had reached the middle stage of the 9th level spiritual god realm, was suppressed by Lu Ming. Such combat strength was truly shocking. Whoosh! Bing Kong let out an angry roar. The bloodline appeared above his head. It was an ice river that emitted an icy aura. Chapter 1264. 1264 Joining forces to fight Lu Ming. Bing Kong was extremely aggrieved by Lu Ming's attacks. He planned to use his blood meridian fusion to fight Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming could not be bothered with him. He turned around and strode up the stairs. Eden, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji were already climbing the stairs with all their might. Ziwuji, stay. An iron sword appeared in Jianzhan's hand. The iron sword crossed the sky, and sword chi whistled as it slashed toward Ziwuji. Ziwuji's entire body emitted a rich purple light. The purple light condensed into a long spear, piercing through the air and fighting against the sword. Eden carried the guqin on his back and strode up the stairs. Lu Ming chased after him quickly. Lu Ming, stay here. Bing Kong transformed into an ice river and chased after Lu Ming with a roar. The ice river danced in the air and ice arrows shot out from the ice river, aiming at Lu Ming. You're looking for death. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He had already let Bing Kong off, but this person was insatiable. He was really courting death. 9 dragons appeared above Lu Ming's head. Lu Ming transformed into 9 dragons. His dragon claws stepped in the air and pounced toward the ice river. The terrifying power kept colliding with the ice river. Although the ice river was constantly releasing terrifying killing moves, they were all broken by the 9 dragons. The dragon claws kept striking the ice river, making the ice river boil and shake. Damn it! Bing Kong's angry roar came from the ice river. He was no match for Lu Ming even if he activated his blood meridian. Sword battle, Ziwuji and Eden, let's join forces and defeat this person first. Otherwise, with this person around, none of us will be able to win first place. Bing Kong shouted. This made Jianzhan and Ziwuji's eyes flash. Indeed, Lu Ming's combat strength had exceeded their expectations. He was too strong. Even Bing Kong was suppressed by Lu Ming. They knew their own limitations. They were definitely not Lu Ming's match in a one-on-one battle. If they let Lu Ming climb with all his might, they would not be able to get first place. If they dealt with Lu Ming first, it would be hard to tell who would be the first place if only the 4 of them were left to compete. Buzz. All of a sudden, the sword battle's sword gleam changed direction and slashed at Lu Ming. Ziwuji held a long spear and charged at Lu Ming. They had really joined forces to fight Lu Ming together. So what if we join forces? Then I'll accompany you in a satisfying battle. Lu Ming shouted. The blood in his body was boiling. It had been a long time since he had used his full strength in a battle between his peers. Roar! The 9 dragons let out a roar as their devouring power burst forth, enveloping Bing Kong, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji. At the same time, the 9 dragons stepped into the air and activated the prison-suppressing heavenly art, constantly bombarding them. On the stairs, the sound of explosions continued to ring out. The 4 of them were engaged in an intense battle. In the sword battle, Ziwuji performed the fusion of blood meridians one after another, exploding with his strongest combat power to fight Lu Ming. For a time, the 4 of them were actually fighting to a standstill. Lu Ming also went all out. He cast the 9 seals of the Divine Gate from time to time. This secret skill was extremely powerful. Jianzhan and the others were afraid of it. As soon as they saw the sealing door appear, they tried their best to avoid it. Eden stood at the top of the stairs. He didn't continue to climb. Instead, he stood there and watched the battle below. Geniuses had the pride of geniuses. He could have taken the opportunity to climb all the way to the top of the stairs, but it would be meaningless if he did that. Even if he won, it would be meaningless because the experts of the 4 major powers of the Yuan continent would all see it. In the blink of an eye, Lu Ming and the 3 paragons had exchanged more than 50 moves. This caused the surrounding people to be dumbfounded and shocked. Lu Ming's combat strength was too shocking. It was as if there was no limit. The stronger his opponent was, the stronger he would be. In a situation where his cultivation was lagging behind, he was able to fight against 3 of the strongest heaven's favorites. This was too shocking. There were only a few of them since ancient times. Haha, the bloodline of the 9 dragons is indeed incredible. This man is now a member of Dragon God Valley. The experts of Dragon God Valley laughed. What a joke. It's not a must to join Dragon God Valley after awakening the bloodline of the 9 dragons. You can also rise quickly by joining other forces. The expert from the Jiuxiao sword sect said unhappily. Not bad. The Tianyu demonic sect also spoke. Even the experts of the Tianyu demonic sect were tempted by such a person. Only the white-haired old man from the heavenly god sect did not speak. This was because before the 3 great forces Dragon God Valley, Tianyu demon sect, and Jiuxiao sword sect had appeared, he had personally said that he would cancel Lu Ming's assessment. Now that Lu Ming's performance was so amazing, it was simply a slap to his face. He could not bring himself to fight for Lu Ming. You're the ones who are ridiculous. Most of the people in Dragon God Valley have awakened the true dragon bloodline. The worst is the Flood Dragon bloodline. They are all related to dragons. They have broken through to the Emperor realm and cultivated the dragon body. Lu Ming is the most suitable person to join Dragon God Valley. What are you all doing here? The Dragon God Valley expert said unhappily. The others did not say anything. It was meaningless to fight for it now. They had to wait for the assessment to end and let Lu Ming make his own decision. In the Heaven God sect, young Master Lin's face was extremely dark. He was the most displeased one. On the stairs, the battle continued. The 9 dragons roared and attacked with their claws. The dragon tail swept across. Every inch of his body was a weapon that could unleash the strongest power. The more they fought, the more shocked Bing Kong, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji became. They realized that they were gradually losing. They had never thought that there would be such a powerful heaven's favorite in the world. Even with the 3 of them working together, they were still at a disadvantage. Before the assessment, they did not take Lu Ming seriously. Even if Lu Ming defeated young Master Lin, they did not mind too much. With their combat strength, it would not be too difficult for them to defeat young Master Lin. In their eyes, the only opponents were the strongest geniuses of the 4 divine palaces. Bing Kong, Eden, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji only had one opponent in their eyes. They had never expected that Lu Ming, the young man who had suddenly appeared, would be so powerful. Bus, whoosh. At this moment, the sound of a zither was heard. At the same time, the cry of a phoenix could be heard. A phoenix bathed in flames flew toward Lu Ming. Eden has made his move. Bing Kong, Jianzhan, and Ziwuji's eyes lit up with joy. Eden finally couldn't help but join the battle. Eden finally took out the zither he carried on his back and played the phoenix divine song. The phoenix that flew out was much more powerful than the one that had appeared during the battle with Tai Hong. The claws of the 9 dragons struck the blazing phoenix and sent it flying. However, the scales on the claws of the 9 dragons were also burned red and almost melted. The temperature of the flames was shockingly high. Then, another phoenix cry was heard. A green phoenix flew out and worked with the flaming phoenix. The wind boosted the fire and it was even more powerful as it charged towards Lu Ming. Good. Lu Ming shouted, his fighting spirit soaring. He used all his combat strength to fight the four of them. Eden's participation made the battle even more intense. Lu Ming used all his means and killed his way through. The power of the prison-suppressing heaven technique grew stronger and stronger. Suddenly the sky was filled with lightning. Bolts of lightning as thick as arms shot in all directions. Thunder God strike breakthrough. Chapter 1265. 1265 The Youth Champion Lu Ming. After an intense battle, Lu Ming's Thunder God strike finally broke through to the 4th level. Martial techniques of creation, like other martial techniques, were divided into 6 levels. The power of the 4th level was already very amazing. His dragon claws were covered in lightning. When he stepped out, the sky was filled with lightning. 9 strikes of the iron sword. An iron sword streaked across the sky, cutting through the space and slashing toward Lu Ming. East rising purple chi. The sky was filled with purple light. A purple spear, extremely sharp, was aimed at Lu Ming's head. Ice Aeon. An ice river made of cold air swept toward Lu Ming. Phoenix Dance. A zither appeared above Eden's head. A phoenix pattern was carved on the zither. This was Eden's bloodline, the phoenix zither. The phoenix zither and the ancient zither in Eden's hands merged into one. Sonorous zither notes burst out. This time, 7 phoenixes flew out at the same time toward Lu Ming. The 4 strongest paragons attacked at the same time, unleashing their strongest attack that enveloped Lu Ming. Heavens, he's too strong. Lu Ming is definitely no match for him. He's going to be defeated. Someone exclaimed. But even more people had their eyes wide open as they stared at the stairs. They didn't even blink and even forgot to breathe. They didn't dare to blink as they were afraid that the moment they did, the situation would change. They stared at the battle intently. Lu Ming, can you block it? Many people had the same thought. Lu Ming. Xian Yinqing clenched her fists tightly. She was extremely nervous. Lose quickly, lose. It's best if you're killed by this attack. You'd better be annihilated. Those who had a grudge against Lu Ming, such as Ice Dragon, Wang Zhen, Xian Yinjuan, and young Master Lin, were praying silently. Look, Lu Ming can't hold on any longer. His blood meridian is collapsing. It's true, he's finished. Lu Ming is too high profile. He's fighting the top 4 alone. He's doomed to lose. Exclamations of shock could be heard. At this time, under the joint attack of the 4 strongest heaven's favorites, the 9 dragon bloodline collapsed inch by inch. It seemed to be unable to withstand it and dissipated into light. The crowd saw Lu Ming's body in the light from the collapse of the 9 dragon bloodline. However, in the next moment, Lu Ming's body was drowned in endless light and the attacks of the 4 powerful experts. Lu Ming was dead for sure. Many people thought to themselves. His blood meridian had collapsed. How could Lu Ming withstand such an attack? Collect. At this critical moment, Eden pressed his hands on the zither and forced the 7 phoenixes back. However, Bing Kong Jianzhan and Zi Wuji didn't stop their attacks. Instead, they became even more violent. Lu Ming was too strong and they were jealous of him. They wanted to take this opportunity to kill Lu Ming in one fell swoop. At this moment, a huge stone tablet rushed out of the light, emitting a bright light. It quickly became the size of a mountain. Suppress. Lu Ming's voice came from the stone tablet. The words on the stone tablet shone with a brilliant light. With a shake, all the attacks were destroyed. The bloodline of the prison suppressing steel. The surrounding spectators were all stunned and only reacted after a long time. Another bloodline, a divine level rank 8 bloodline. Lu Ming actually has 2 types of blood vessels. One is divine level 8 and the other is divine level 9. How is that possible? And what's with his 8th rank divine bloodline? How could he be so powerful? It can destroy the attacks of Bing Kong and the others in one fell swoop. The scene was in an uproar. At first, they thought that Lu Ming would be killed by this attack. However, at the critical moment, Lu Ming actually burst out another kind of blood meridian and blocked the attacks of several powerful experts. It left them dumbfounded. The prison guarding steel. This is the bloodline of the prison guarding steel. The white-haired elder of the Heaven God sect couldn't help but exclaim. It really is the bloodline of the prison guarding steel. One is the 9 dragons and the other is the legendary prison guarding steel. It's incredible. The legendary 9 heaven-suppressing steels. The experts from Dragon God Valley, Jiuxiao Sword Sect, and Tianyu Demon Sect all exclaimed in shock. It was as if seeing the prison-suppressing steel bloodline was more shocking than seeing the 9 dragons bloodline. Suppress. As Lu Ming's voice rang out, the prison-suppressing steel trembled and pressed down on the icy sky. Boom. The huge prison-suppressing steel pressed down on the ice river, causing a scream to come out of the ice river. Again? There was a layer of blood-red light on the prison-suppressing steel, which was the power of the 3rd bloodline. Lu Ming had borrowed more power from the 3rd bloodline to make the power of the prison-suppressing steel even stronger. Boom. The prison-suppressing steel pressed down again and hit the ice river. This time the ice river shook violently and collapsed, turning into energy and dissipating. Bing Kong's figure appeared, blood spurting out of his mouth. He flew far away and hit the platform below the stairs, spitting out a few more mouthfuls of blood. This change was too sudden. From the appearance of the prison-suppressing steel bloodline to its fierce attack on Bing Kong, it had only taken a breath's time to severely injure him. Attack. At this moment in the sword battle, Zi Wuji attacked at the same time. His iron sword and long spear were aimed at Lu Ming. The prison-suppressing steel shook and directly hit the iron sword and the long spear. The part below the bloodline was the original body of the prison-suppressing steel, which was indestructible. The iron sword and the spear hit the steel with only 2 clangs before they were flicked away by the bloodline. Buzz. Then the bloodline of the prison-suppressing steel suppressed the 2 of them. With 2 loud bangs, the 2 of them were forced to retreat. Up until now, in the sword battle, Zi Wuji and the others had used up a lot of their bloodline power. Lu Ming had just used the prison-suppressing steel bloodline and his bloodline power was still abundant. He kept attacking the 2 of them. Eden didn't do anything during this process. In the sword battle, Zi Wuji and Lu Ming could not withstand many moves. Their blood vessels were also destroyed by Lu Ming, and their bodies were sent flying while vomiting blood. The 3 powerhouses were all injured by Lu Ming. Kill? Lu Ming controlled the prison-suppressing steel and continued to suppress the ice. Bing Kong's eyes flashed with fear as he shouted, "I admit defeat." Then the space flashed and Bing Kong was teleported out. Umph. Lu Ming snorted coldly and aimed the prison-suppressing steel at Jianzhan and Zi Wuji. The 2 of them were helpless. Now that their blood meridian power had been exhausted, they were no match for Lu Ming and could only admit defeat. Only Lu Ming and Eden were left on the stairs. The prison-suppressing steel shrunk and transformed into Lu Ming's appearance. "Do you still want to continue?" Lu Ming looked at Eden. Just now, Eden had withdrawn its attack at the critical moment. This made Lu Ming's impression of him improve slightly. He did not launch an attack. "Is there still a need? I'm not your match." Eden forced a smile and shook his head. He put away his zither and stepped out of the staircase, appearing in the void outside. At this point, Lu Ming was the only one left on the stairs. At this moment, Lu Ming was the center of attention. There was no doubt about the assessment this time. Lu Ming was in first place. This result was beyond everyone's expectations. Lu Ming had single-handedly fought 4 of the strongest geniuses. If anyone had said this before, no one would have believed it. They would definitely have been called a lunatic. Even now, some people were still in a daze and felt that this was very unreal. Chapter 1266. 1266 Joining the Dragon God Valley. There was only one person on the stairs. Lu Ming turned around and walked up the stairs step by step. In the void all around, countless people's eyes fell on Lu Ming. The scene was silent. Only the melodious sound of Lu Ming's footsteps could be heard. A few minutes later, Lu Ming reached the highest point. He stepped on the air and appeared beside Xian Yanqing. "Not bad. It's worth it for me to admit defeat this time." Xian Yanqing smiled brightly. "Of course. How can your man be bad?" Lu Ming smiled. "Don't be so smug." Xian Yanqing blushed. "Haha, great. You're really impressive. You have such combat strength and cultivation at such a young age. Even in my Dragon God Valley, you're considered a pretty good heavenly pride. In our Dragon God Valley, Those who have awakened the bloodline of the true dragon and broken through to the Emperor realm have cultivated the supreme dragon body. The expert from Dragon God Valley laughed as he came to Lu Ming. He looked at Lu Ming with fiery eyes and was full of anticipation. Lu Ming, although Dragon God Valley cultivates the dragon body, they are not the only ones who have the cultivation method. Jiuxiao Sword Sect also has it. Lu Ming, if you want to join Jiuxiao Sword Sect, you can state your conditions. The expert from the Jiuxiao Sword Sect chimed in. What do you mean? Are you going against the Dragon God Valley? The eyes of the Dragon God Valley expert turned cold as he looked at the Jiuxiao Sword Sect expert unhappily. The expert from the Jiuxiao Sword Sect sneered fearlessly. The expert from the Tianyu demonic sect wanted to say something, but Lu Ming had nothing to do with the demonic Dao. He figured that there was little hope of inviting Lu Ming. After some thought, he turned to Xian Yanqing and said, Miss, your talent in the demonic path is extremely pure, and my Tianyu demonic sect mainly cultivates the demonic path. How about I invite you to join my Tianyu demonic sect? The Tianyu demon sect. Xian Yanqing was tempted, but he shook his head after looking at Lu Ming. Thank you, senior. I'll follow Lu Ming. I'll join whichever sect he joins. What? Many people were stunned. Xian Yanqing would follow Lu Ming wherever he went. Little Qing. Lu Ming looked at Xian Yanqing and his heart warmed. This? The expert from the Tianyu demonic sect wanted to say something but stopped. Haha, Lu Ming just joined the Dragon God Valley. Only the Dragon God Valley can bring out your full potential. The expert from Dragon God Valley said. Not bad. At this moment, the expert from the Tianyu demon sect spoke. Lu Ming, you'll join Dragon God Valley, and this lady will join my Tianyu demon sect. Dragon God Valley and Tianyu demon sect are very close to each other, so you can visit each other often. This way you can meet each other often and it won't affect your cultivation. To be honest, if this girl doesn't join a demonic sect, her talent will be wasted. The expert from the Tianyu demonic sect persuaded. But Xian Yanqing still shook his head. Seniors, if we join your sect, can we delay our journey to the Yuan continent for a while? Lu Ming asked. Of course you can. The experts from Dragon God Valley, Tianyu demonic sect, and Jiuxiao Sword Sect all nodded. Since it's like this. Lu Ming looked at Xian Yanqing. Shaoqing, why don't you join the Tianyu demonic sect? I'll join the Dragon God Valley. We can meet often anyway. The powerhouse from the Tianyu demonic sect was right. If Xian Yanqing followed him and joined the Dragon God Valley or other forces, it would only be a waste of talent. After all, cultivation was the most important thing for warriors. Moreover, he didn't need to go there immediately. He could go there after a while. Upon hearing Lu Ming's words, the eyes of the experts from the Dragon God Valley and the Tianyu demon sect lit up. Xian Yanqing pondered for a moment, then nodded and said, All right then. Senior, I'm willing to join Dragon God Valley. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said to the expert from Dragon God Valley. Good ha. The experts of Dragon God Valley were overjoyed. Xian Yanqing also expressed his desire to join the Tianyu demon sect, and the experts of the Tianyu demon sect were also overjoyed. Although Xian Yanqing's cultivation level was still low, his potential was limitless. Both Dragon God Valley and the Tianyu demon sect were overjoyed. They had each gained a rare genius. The expert from the Jiuxiao Sword Sect shook his head and sighed. The white-haired elder from the Heavenly God Sect looked gloomy and did not say anything. The others were envious. Other people could not join a sect even if they wanted to. However, Lu Ming had been invited by several sects and forces. The treatment was incomparable. Following that, Dragon God Valley, Jiuxiao Sword Sect, and Tianshan Sect began to fight for Dragon Qin. After all, Long Chen's awakened immemorial dragon elephant bloodline also had endless potential. In the end, Long Chen also chose Dragon God Valley, which made the leader of Dragon God Valley laugh his head off. Bing Kong, how about you join my Tianshan sect? Jianzhan, how about you join Jiuxiao Sword Sect? Then the four forces started to send out invitations to Eden, Ice Sky, Sword Battle, and Ziwuji. In the end, Bing Kong joined the Tianshan sect, Jianzhan joined the Jiuxiao Sword Sect, Ziwuji joined the Tianshan sect, and so did Eden. The cultivation techniques of the Heaven God sect were more diverse and suitable for most of the Heaven's favorites to join. The white-haired old man of the Heavenly God sect finally revealed a smile on his face. Xian Yanjuan, What do you think about joining my Tianxin sect? At this moment, the Tianxin sect sent an invitation to Xian Yinjuan. Xian Yinjuan was overjoyed. He nodded without hesitation. After that, geniuses like Ji Hongqian and Wang Zhen were also invited to join the 4 great sections. The remaining paragons looked at the 4 sects with eager eyes, hoping to be invited. Your name is Yang Padian, right? How about you join the Jiuxiao sword sect? The Jiuxiao sword sect's expert looked at Yang Padian, causing his body to tremble violently. His eyes revealed a look of ecstasy. He didn't expect to be invited, so he quickly nodded in agreement. Even though his cultivation is low, he has comprehended the will of space. No wonder he was chosen by the Jiuxiao sword sect. Someone said. Time and space were the kings. The space mentality was rare and powerful, and there were very few people who could comprehend it. Yang Potion's cultivation was still low, and he did not have any cultivation methods related to the space mentality. There were many mysteries that he had not developed yet. If he went to a major sect in the Yuanlu continent, he would be very terrifying when he fully developed the space concept. Oh my god, this way there are 5 people from the Divine Wilderness continent who have been selected to join a large sect in the Yuan continent. Someone exclaimed. Everyone thought in their hearts as expected. Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing, Long Qin, Xian Yinjuan and Yang Padian. A total of 5 people had joined the major sects of the Yuan continent. The number of people had even surpassed that of the Blood Sun continent, which was ranked 2nd. This made the other young geniuses extremely envious and jealous. The other heaven's favorites looked at the powerhouses from the 4 forces with hope, hoping that they would be chosen. Unfortunately, the experts from the 4 forces did not make any moves after that. They glanced at the many heaven's favorites and frowned as if they were thinking. In the end, 3 more people were chosen. They were all heaven's favorites with low cultivation but good potential. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.